Theo Snodgrass. Hello, all you fine, beautiful people who respect me. I'm here with a panel that doesn't. Well, everybody say hi to the panel. Hello, panel.
Hi, panel.
Hi,
Hi,
panel.
panel.
There we go. It wasn't that cute. All right, we're going to talk about online privacy and shit. This has been a stupendous day. It's been a stupendous week. A lot has happened. Last week, I wanted to talk about porn and how terrible that is, and then very quickly, a bunch of stuff happened that suggested to me that talking about porn was like not the point. That was always a Trojan horse, a big-titted Trojan horse to get at online privacy. And this is, we're not going to talk about Sydney Sweeney this episode. There's already been too much Sydney Sweeney discourse. I feel like the discourse has moved on.
And so bringing up her name, doesn't that equate talking about her?
No, it's because she's got the good tits. Not the
Anyway,
evil-
let's just deal with that right at the top of the show. All right. Vagabond, I know if you don't talk about online privacy, your head is literally going to explode. I know that about you. So
It took less than a minute. Goals achieved.
Yeah, I'm confident in my position. Like, we have too many examples of what censorship and outright banning stuff that there's an obvious market for does. And anyone who's for that does not know history.
Right. So, okay. Yeah, I guess where it seems pretty obvious to me that because I really wanted to have like a porn debate. I thought we had like a spirited case because I do think porn is bad. So I wanted to be able to talk about that. But then immediately we had the EU passing something, we had the UK passing something, the US is trying to pass something, and all of it is under the auspices of we got to save the children and we got to protect children from bad online content. In order to accomplish that, everybody needs to send us their driver's license and a facial scan. Yeah. And we're going to have it policed by private companies. They're going to handle it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Nothing bad is going to happen. And then we saw all the bad stuff that happened with the...
You just have to give a little bit to get something in return. That's all. It's just a little give and take. Nothing, nothing bad.
Yeah,
nothing bad has ever happened by just giving up a little bit of your freedom and privacy.
Yeah, I guess
not once.
My objection is that they're not actually able to guarantee the safety that they say they're guaranteeing. Like, they say that this is going to lead to them keeping children away from pornography, and I just don't think that's true. They already figured out a way around it. You guys heard about this? What video game is that? Where there's
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. You get like
Norman Reedus
or whatever.
Yeah,
and you could just get around all of it. That took them right away. They figured that out. Right away. They figured that out. A bunch of people bought VPNs. Right away. They figured that out. Like, there's not a way. So this isn't going to guarantee safety. It's just going to create a database of a bunch of people's driver's licenses and face scans and fingerprints and whatever the fuck else they can convince people to send in. Urine sample.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're always going to find a way to sneak in something. Well, you want to get rid of alcohol to protect the kids. You want to get rid of porn to protect the kids. You want to get rid of violence to protect the kids. You want to get rid of free thought and discord to protect the kids. Good. Oh, not that last one, maybe. Too late. You already gave them everything else.
So, yeah. That was suboptimal.
And
I don't know.
And what's wrong with the government colluding with private companies, banking and payment institutions to achieve this goal? Absolutely nothing, right?
Right. Oh, it leads to nothing. Yeah. There.
They can just control who can and can't purchase things, what they can purchase, and keep track of what they are purchasing and activities online.
I'm fairly certain there is a crime called collusion.
Well, this can't be bad because we elected it in, so it must still be democracy. Oh, sorry, I just got the latest download.
Clearly,
I can't.
Right. I mean, this. If anybody doesn't recognize the pattern of, they create a problem, let it fester and get worse, just to shoehorn in a solution that has nothing to really do with the actual problem, just to get more control.
Well, it's not the problem with the thing is, one, it's not really about the porn.
No.
Two, the language they're using is beside, like, it's what they consider to be harmful to children, and that could also include speech, or what is hateful speech or hurtful speech. We see the UK's blocking sites that anything that talks about immigrants or illegal, because they also have an immigrant problem in the UK, and
anything critical of certain massive religious and political sections and populations.
But here's the thing. We have a Second Amendment here in the United States. Our government, and in the Second Amendment, it says shall not infringe. That's been infringed upon. So if they're willing to infringe on the Second Amendment, they're more than willing to infringe on the first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we saw in England, the day after they passed the no porn law, they immediately withheld news of riots over immigrant rape cases. They silenced all news of those riots, claiming that they were using it under the law that banned porn.
Yeah, almost like porn was never the issue.
Shocking.
Well, here's the other thing. Look, I'd rather live in dangerous freedom than to live in inside of a cage of safety. Quote unquote safety. You just parents. The first area of entry to porn is the internet that your parents control. Kids aren't there paying for the internet bill and paying for the phone bill. That's the parents' job to do that. You need to monitor where your kids are going, see if the parent that you're dropping your kids off to go meet some friends, what rules they have in their house to see if your child's safe. All the rest of us should not have to suffer because you can't control little Johnny.
It's not just that. So you're making an important point, Vagabond, but this is I don't want to gloss over this. The government cannot provide the safety that it's promising you. There is no way the government can protect your child from porn. It can't happen. That's impossible. And your desire to have the government protect your child from porn so that you don't have to, it is going to allow them. They're going to use that fear and that desire that you have for safety, and they're going to use it to take rights away and make your life more restrictive and control you more tight.
Not even just that. Sorry.
I was going to say it's. Oh, go ahead.
No, go. Woman, you go first.
Wow.
No, I'm the woman.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, okay.
Based.
Okay.
Based.
Okay. Now that
you
you
have a soundboard.
Go ahead. Make your point.
I was just going to bring up, it's more than that. Like, if you've ever seen movies like Equilibrium, it basically, the government becomes the parent to the child, and the child becomes the informant to the government, even for you as the parent. Like, you're the physical parent, but that means nothing once you let this shit continue, because they are just going to become a product, a child of the state, and they will do exactly what the government wants them to because they're being indoctrinated and trained to do so. This is why you need to parent your own children. And no, what is it? It takes a village. That phrase has just been completely taken out of proportion, and it is ridiculous. It's just as bad as having the government take care of your children. No, you need to take care of raising your children, and if you need some help every now and again from the community, that's perfectly fine. But you are the one that's in control of your child. You need to take responsibility for it.
Yeah. Well, I do. Okay. This is a good point. So I think a lot of people took the expression, it takes a village. And I think what that actually means in context is it takes an extended family of people who know the child personally and care about its well-being to help each other out, and sort of raising children as a team effort. And that includes older children, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That includes older siblings. Right?
Yes.
Like that's all part of and I think the way it's been interpreted is it takes a government and a bureaucracy and a bunch of fucking
communism,
childless millennial women with humanities degrees and thin mustaches, you know, to get in there and raise a child such that and also indoctrinate it with all the correct beliefs, right? Because otherwise the child is going to think that sex and gender are the same thing, and we wouldn't want that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about where that phrase comes from is originally people lived in small village type settings. So even like I used to go to school in the Caribbean, your teacher could be your next door neighbor, and the teacher could beat you, tell your parents what you did and that they beat you, and then your parents would beat you too.
Yes.
And but now we don't live in that the way we are now as humans. We don't live, most of us don't live in that type of setting where everybody knows each other. Your neighbors work far distances away from your house. Your teachers don't probably live in the same neighborhood that the school's even at or whatever, you know. So that's where, and it takes a village. It's small settings, but that doesn't apply anymore to the vast majority of people.
Well, the thing is also, we've been seeing parental rights.
They've replaced the small village with government. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Arza.
We've been seeing parental rights being completely washed away for so long. I mean, there was a woman who was arrested because her 13-year-old son walked a mile into town to go to the grocery store.
Yep.
You know, if you have your kids, it's illegal to have your kids playing in your front yard without watching them in many places. All because they might get kidnapped, which is also like one of the rarest crimes to happen to unsuspecting random people. Kidnapping almost exclusively happens within families. And it's like, so they've eroded all of those parental rights, and then they make fun of you when you don't like it, because now you're endangering your child.
Right.
We had a Phineas and Ferb episode about this.
I blame CPS.
The one episode where Candace gets her mom to see that Phineas and Ferb are building like roller coasters and shit, she like appeals to the government to lock all children in bubble wrap cages, and that's literally what we're setting up to happen right now.
Actually, it's worse than that, and I think it's bringing up the Trojan horse. I think is a very good aspect of it, because it's the same thing they did after the terrorist attacks in 9/11. Yeah, it was good because it's a whole point. It's that there is too many Americans specifically that are willing to give up freedoms for the illusion of safety.
Yep.
But this is why democracy is a failed system, and why the U.S. is not a democracy.
The global wide cold that we all experienced just a little while ago is a great example of that.
Yeah, and this is okay. So what's okay? This is something I want to kind of zero in on what Arza was saying. What is downstream of all of this crazy the snowplow parenting or helicopter parenting or whatever you want to call it? What is downstream of that is a generation that is incredibly anxious, has a really hard time dealing with adversity, can't really tolerate any kind of disagreement or anything not going their way or not getting their preferences. And when something goes wrong, they're trained to appeal to an authoritarian bureaucracy. Because what happens when you don't regulate your own interpersonal conflict with other students? You go tell the teacher. Now we've got a bunch of adults that are conditioned when something's not going my way. I go tell the teacher. I go tell the manager.
Where's
I complain
the authority
to the
figure?
administrator.
Yep.
And the power dynamic has kind of gotten reversed a little bit, where they're bullying and demanding a more authoritarian feminine bureaucracy. And they're insisting on it. Like we demand the HR department come in here and enforce rules so that I can feel safe.
True story here. One of the companies I worked at over the last, I think, few years, one of the last jobs I had where I actually worked in an office, and I was in a management position, and one of the actual situations I had to deal with was one of the employees overheard a conversation that she didn't like or agree with. It was a private conversation being held outside in the smoking area during break.
Bitch, stop eavesdropping.
That happens to be on this show.
Overheard it, told management, and it resulted in somebody losing their job over a conversation that was overheard, that was not workplace appropriate. And to get into the details of that conversation, it was not anything like overtly sexual. It was just people talking about certain opinions that they had that didn't align with this other person's. Well, you're not allowed to talk about your opinions about things at all. So
everybody's got to be a drone.
Okay, you know what's great? Okay, I had a job one time, and one of my coworkers came up to me, and he spent like 20 minutes telling me about how there's a mountain shaped like a gorilla's face on the moon that was built by extraterrestrials. And he took 20 minutes of my life to tell me that. I would rather he be fired than someone who said an opinion that I disagreed with. I will never get that time back. I hate him so much for this. It sucks. It sucks so bad. It's one of these guys who just spends all day on Reddit, and then he goes to work and he tells his coworkers what he saw on Reddit. Well, that guy should be fired. Fuck that guy.
Kind of proves every single thing we're saying about these entitled people who can't live without a bureaucracy. If you disagree with somebody on Reddit, you know what's the first thing they say? Source. Show me your source.
Right.
Because they cannot handle a disagreement without an appeal to authority to be persuaded.
Yeah.
Right. And then if you show the source, then they want to get you. Right. Well, let's just get you kicked off.
So I say that whenever someone like shares something on Twitter where it seem hyperbolic and they don't link to like an article or a study or things like that. I don't know if a source is exactly equivalent to an appeal to authority when requesting for something like that. It
can be, depending on why you're asking.
It depends on how it's used. It depends on how it's used. So a lot. Okay. Do you remember when I was talking to what's her face, the feminist, when I was interviewing her? She did that to me a lot. And so one of the things people on the left will do is if they don't like what you said, they'll demand that you produce a scientific study that verifies it. And I don't have a scientific study. I can tell you about a scientific study. I can tell you about it. Right. Well, yeah.
No, search online.
I can
get rid of Google
right now.
Okay. I'll give you that one.
So pedantic. God.
I hate the fact that Google has become a verb. It is not a verb.
I hate the fact that
but no, when
vaccines made you autistic. That's what I
when
hate.
It comes to
fucking up the vibe of this conversation every time we have to make a correction.
When it comes to debate, the only thing that should matter is rhetoric. If you can persuade somebody, then you don't need to pull up a 30 million page study. Because guess what? Studies can be wrong too. A lot of the studies leftist reference have faulty statistics.
Yeah, that's also the other thing too, is that, one of the things that's going on with the academy right now is that it's ideologically captured. Even hard sciences that shouldn't be ideologically captured are experiencing ideological capture. What that means is they have an incentive to produce results that make leftists feel good, because if they don't, they'll be attacked. And also they're looking to confirm their own personal beliefs. And this is especially true when we're talking about like gender science or social science, or when you hear an anthropologist. Anthropology is totally captured. So when you hear an anthropologist produce a study that say, actually new evidence suggests women were better hunters the whole time. They were the hunters and the warriors. It's like we was kangs for women. And they're just trying to rewrite history with shit that's like obviously not true.
Off so much. I took an anthropology class when I think it was my first semester of college, and I loved that class. And if that professor is still on the job now, I don't think he would support anything to do with the industry anymore. It is such bullshit.
No, because they've shifted so much.
Yes.
This is just Walter's point. It's like you're saying the left should use feelings, not facts. It's like, no, that's not the point. It's what ours is saying is
rhetoric.
Rhetoric. When this is downstream of this idea, this appeal to authority, which is really common on the left and really common among particularly young women, also millennial women too. It's part of this larger trend of like, if what you're saying doesn't align with what the teacher says, then you're in big trouble. You're using bad words. And this starts, by the way, do you guys remember that video I showed of the toddlers?
Yeah, the diaper argument,
where he said, you have a diaper on, so you're a baby. And she was like,
he never called her a baby. He never called her a baby. She called herself a baby.
I'm not a baby.
It's like, I know, but you're wearing a diaper. And then he said, I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree with you, or something to that effect. He used the word but. And she's like, you said but. That's a bad word. It's like, wait, no, it's not. Now, she's being dishonest in that, but that is such a great illustration of how leftists operate. That was like a perfect, without even knowing it, she instinctively, and this kind of illustrates a point I make a lot which is that leftists are emotional children. They don't actually evolve.
They
There's
didn't
not
mature
like a
past
logic
like
behind it.
16. Yeah.
Right. And so when they're appealing to a study, to address Walter's point, he gets it. He gets it. But Walter's point is like leftists actually aren't appealing to facts when they're pretending to appeal to facts, and then they're going to point to something that confirms what they already think emotionally is true. And because of the ideological capture, and everybody who made that study is a leftist, the people who designed that study was leftist, they knew if they didn't produce leftist results, that leftists would attack them. Right.
Yeah,
so
it's more than just that. It's who's funding it. A lot of times, because the only way they're going to get the money is from who's funding it is the lean of the people funding it. For them to continue to get that money stream coming in, they have to have results that are going to favor the opinions of whoever funded the study.
But we have a really good example of this with the UK, and this is one time the UK is actually doing the right thing with their transgender studies. The UK has fully swallowed the pro-trans pill, and so they actually did their own studies to see whether or not they tried to prove themselves correct, and the results were so egregiously bad that they ended up proving gender critical people correct. So they found that puberty blockers cause calcification of testicles and ovaries, causing cancer risk and permanent infertility. They found that transitioning increases the rate of suicidal ideation instead of reducing it, and the only thing that reduced it was talk therapy. They found basically all these things proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that transgenderism is not valid, and they're actually changing the laws to affirm this new scientific studies because of how aggressively they were proven false.
Right.
Yeah. It also helps that they're that they've kind of the trans ideology isn't really the flavor of the month anymore. At least they're going to a whole nother thing where let's push that back a little bit.
Yeah, bro. Okay.
In favor of something else.
That's something I've noticed. Like fucking Pete Buttigieg, I think it was this past week, was like, well, when you've got trans women in sports, it's a real fairness issue. I think we should let individual sporting bodies decide, which is like, by the way, which is kind of like saying let the states decide, which is, by the way, what Republicans say when they're like, I don't want to take a hard stance on this because I don't want to alienate people. So we should let the states decide. That's the same argument, just the Democrats are using it now to get out of this.
Said that.
Yes, Pete Buttigieg, the gay one, the one who rides with his husband on a tandem bicycle.
Transportation secretary or whatever the fuck he was.
The one who used the prosthetic boob feeder for his bought and paid for child.
Fuck, I forgot about that. Thank you.
I don't want to gloss over this. He uses a tandem bicycle with his husband, which is, and this is, I don't want to gloss over this, that is the gayest thing I have ever heard.
I'm so glad that people
even if you're in a hetero relationship. Like, even if you're with your woman as a dude doing that, it's still kind of gay.
That's still gay!
Like,
bro, if she's in the back, it's like she's pegging you. And if she's in the front, then she's in charge. There's there's no way to get on a tandem bicycle. Just get your own bicycle. Just get your own. What is wrong with you? I don't want to get too hung up on this. It's not what we're trying to talk
romance
about.
Romance is dead with you, isn't it?
Well, I'll just delete the tandem bicycle from my Amazon cart that I had planned for us, Theo.
I got to bring that up.
Wait, are you buying? Well, never mind.
Oh, fuck. Oh, it's fun.
It's even gayer than Vaughn.
Oh man, shout out to Vaughn Coleman, friend of the channel. Go buy Phenomenova issue 3. He's actually selling it right now.
I already did.
All right, good stuff. But yeah, no, this is like,
look, there's a cute.
It's they're okay. So the point of that is they box themselves into this like unwinnable position where they're married to this very unpopular issue, and they cannot abandon it without pissing off their base, because they told the base this was like the civil rights issue of our time. Mm-hmm. Like you missed out on slavery, you missed out on the civil rights movement, but white people, you can still be one of the good ones if you just believe in the trans thing. This was your chance to be a civil rights hero and be the specialist goodest white, right? And now they are in this position where it's like that's super not popular. We have this huge influx of Latino immigrants who do not agree with this at all, and they're trying to court them as a potential voter base. They're like, how do we get ourselves out of this? Yeah.
Well, they have the perfect answer. It's that they can stop relying on the liberal idiots by just appealing to the Muslims.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, like that's the other thing too, is they're also, this is how you know it's not about being logically consistent. It's just about winning. I don't think what's crazy about this is that it's not even like really trans people's fault. Like I feel
they're the victims in this.
Yeah, I
feel most of them wouldn't be
warm up
trans if it wasn't for the radical pushing of political agendas.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, like, the left is almost betraying the base that they told to go change their sex.
Yeah,
well,
like that's
I saw one report from a psychologist who basically argued that these people are married to the ideology because if they ever admit that transgenderism was wrong, they will have to admit to ruining the lives of thousands of children.
Oh man, yeah, imagine the people like the Megan Foxes of the world who have like 3 trans children, or like Charlize Theron who adopted a bunch of children and they're all trans or
Technically,
whatever.
Megan Fox's children aren't trans; they're just cross-dressers.
Okay, well, I mean, still, like, you're kind of like you're bought in at that point. Like, if you trans your kid, especially the people who did like puberty blockers or whatever, if you like trans your kid like full on, you're bought in. Like, admitting that you fucked up at that point is like so costly because
it's the most severe sunk cost fallacy. So a lot of the victims of it basically have to buy the Kool-Aid fully so that they can lie to themselves about being okay with what happened to them.
Right. And one of the issues is that if you, I think, so I've said this before, I think the gender thing is load bearing in leftist philosophy. Like because that's the entry point for a lot of this stuff. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. There's certain binaries that are foundational in the way humans understand reality that are as old as our species. There's left, right, up, down, male, female, just light and dark, black and white. These are foundational in the way that we make sense of reality. And if you can get at any of those, then I can get you to throw out what you believe and tell you what to believe and replace it. Yeah. So
didn't you get the memo? 2 + 2 is 5.
Yeah, that's another one. So that's like very like 1984, right? Like that's what we're kind of getting at. And this is how leftist philosophy gets you to buy into their collectivist bullshit, is they get at the very nature of reality and they get you to question that. And it's like, okay, I've argued with them, so I see how they think. It's like, okay, there is no way you can define male and female that is perfectly inclusive and perfectly and doesn't, because you've got like intersex people or whatever. And it's like, therefore, if the category is not perfect, you throw out the entire category. You don't need categories anymore. It can just be whatever you want it to be. And whatever you say reality is what reality is. Ooh, you did it. Right. And that's what they tell you. And then they tell you a bunch of bullshit that contradicts reality, but would be nice if it were true. That's how leftists get you. It would be nice. Okay. Like, it would be really nice if you could tell the government, hey, kids aren't allowed to look at porn anymore. And the government could do that. That would be super cool. That'd be awesome. Like, bro, I'd be all for it. If the government could just like wave a wand and kids didn't get exposed to pornography anymore, that would be fucking fantastic. That'd be awesome. But believing that that's possible is not in alignment with reality.
It's believing in utopia, which never will exist. It cannot exist by human nature.
Right. And it's not just that it cannot exist. Pursuing it is ruinous.
Yes.
And I mean, you go to the that scene from The Matrix. One of the best scenes from that movie is when Smith is telling Lawrence Fishburne's character Morpheus that the first world, artificial world they created was a complete paradise and a utopia, and humanity rejected it, and everybody died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one
it's built on bodies until the last man standing. It'll be one man's utopia.
Let's look at the biggest lie told by TRAs. I've been watching a lot of gender critical stuff, so I'm like tuned into this.
Oh shit!
One of the number one thing that they like to say is, "I'd rather have a trans daughter than a dead son."
Yeah,
is the common one. But that is they've done studies. People with gender dysphoria do not kill themselves until you tell them it's an option. They're literally taught killing themselves as an option to get what they want.
Yeah,
they will never come to that conclusion on their own.
Chloe Cole, the detransitioner, said that when she went in for her therapy, because of the depression and everything else she was experiencing, that is very common in any kid her age, male or female. The first thing they said is, well, you might be this, and if we don't take care of this, you'll do this. And she's like, well, I don't want to do that. So
yeah, exactly.
Over tomboys for decades now.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks. What's crazy is like you could, because of the way Chloe Cole's autistic. That's one of the problems. And because of the way autistic people think, they're very vulnerable to this kind of like black and white, this or that thinking. So it's like, because basically, if you tell a young autistic person that they either need to transition or kill themselves, they're going to pick transition because that's the better of the two alternatives that you gave them. Yeah. They think that's literally true because you said it. And also there's this other problem with autistic people where they take everything at face value because they don't lie. They assume others don't lie. And they wouldn't say that unless they were really sure it was true. They wouldn't say something like that out loud unless they had really thought about it for a long time. And that's not how most people are. Most people just say bullshit. They just say bullshit. They don't think about it at all. They don't think about the consequences. They only care if they're going to get punished. And most things don't result in punishment. So people just say bullshit that isn't true all the time. They don't think about it at all. So it's really, it sucks. That's why we're seeing so many and also
and then they get into politics.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Well, you're stacking a lie upon a lie upon a lie, and you're selling it to people who will eventually believe one of those lies. And once they believe that one, they must believe all other ones. And then they can't desist because it's so integral to their identity. This, like the claim that gender is a binary, is not substantiated anywhere. The claim that gender and sex are separate is not substantiated anywhere. You cannot make that claim with any actual empirical evidence that exists in the real world. But they have to deny reality to affirm it.
Well, this is actually the point, is like, this is true not just with gender. This is true with like the whole way leftists frame reality. In order to get people to believe this, you have to really tightly control the kind of information they are able to get. Because if you let them see reality, they're going to be like, hey, this doesn't make sense. Right? Like, this is, I say this all the time. Most people are just really personal in terms of how they make sense of the world. Like, most people, they just look at what's in front of them and they're like, oh, well, this is like I know a guy. Like, it's really hard. I'll give you an example. It's really hard to get women to be feminists if they have a good dad, because you can't convince them that all men are bad, because they're just like, nuh-uh, there's one right there. And that's it. That's as far as it goes. Literally as far as it goes. So like, that's kind of how leftists are. If in order to get you to believe this, that reality is shaped the way they say it is, you have to not be able to see the real thing. They have to keep you locked in your little home box. And then you go to your little cubicle box and you stay in your little moving box the whole time. You don't interact with reality at all. You interact with reality through the phone. That's the only way you see it. You don't look outside at stuff. You don't talk to real people. Like, you don't talk to real women at Starbucks because you're scared you might get arrested. All you do is you have women yelling at you about your inadequacies through the phone. And that's what you think a woman is, because you won't talk to the real ones at Starbucks because she might go to the HR department.
Are there really real women at Starbucks?
I don't know. Yeah. They're all non-binary as far as I can tell.
It depends on the area you go to.
Okay, that's a good point. They want to control every reality is dictated by what you see on a screen. Mm-hmm. So how can we control what is seen on the screen?
Bingo.
Trojan horse, porn.
Right.
We're going to regulate
the Screen
to
Act.
Protect the children by controlling what you see on the screen through the porn. By the way, we're also going to protect pride parades with open displays of sex acts and bring your kids.
And
Well,
honestly,
not only that,
Go
like
ahead.
the part of the Trojan horse problem is that they like they will attack speech on the internet. We've seen that with
That's
Alex
the whole
Jones
point.
in Connecticut.
Mhm.
So if they say Alex Jones rhetoric is dangerous for kids or anyone
That's
similar to that, we need to remove these folks on the internet or block kids or block people from the access to these ideologies.
You guys know that there's currently introduced legislation in the United States for this, right? Like the
Yes.
Screen Act.
Yes.
Von Coleman is here,
All right.
friend of the channel. Go buy Phenomenova issue 3, everybody. Go support this man. Support this man. Vaughn,
He's
put
on
your link to
Facebook.
chat.
Ugh.
I'm just happy to have viewers on Facebook, to be honest with you. I didn't know anybody was watching it. I mean, that's cool.
And it's not just Vaughn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got another comment from
Oh
Facebook
shit,
as well.
really? We're actually
Yeah,
watching
there
this?
was
Bro.
Bonjukian Patton.
No idea. No clue. No,
What
but happy
is
you're
worse
here.
about the-
Welcome to the show, Bonjukian.
Wait,
What's
Theo
worse
Snodgrass
is
is live
Watching
now. I
from
guess
the
it's
Star
better
Wars
than
galaxy,
being
I
dead.
guess.
what's worse about the Screen Act is the fact that if you look, it's a fucking Republican introducing it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that claims to
It's
be
a
all about freedom.
neocon
Mhm.
evangelical who's doing it. One of these nut job who wants to force the worst version of Christianity down everybody's throats.
The
He's
woke
not
right.
really a Republican.
Calm down. You're gonna make Theo have a chub. Okay.
Theo's not a Christian, he's a Catholic. It doesn't count.
Well,
Yeah,
Here-
yeah. This
here's the
guy
other
is
thing.
a heretic who can't read.
But here's the other thing: we're not in a whole theistic society. There's different religions, different versions of the religion, or whatever. The thing is, the reason why we're the United States is so we can break away from one ruling party of completely. So like, yeah, like even if there's something that you disagree with, they're allowed to exist. And if you want to actually stop people from viewing porn or whatever, you have to go attack people's morals without trying to use government to do that for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Change culture through society, not government.
Yes.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's fucked up that it's like the evangelicals are trying to use top-down authoritarianism to get rid of porn. It's like
that's all they've ever
Mhm.
done. That's literally their
Yeah.
entire game playbook. And they are on opposite sides, but they converge onto one point. They want to control society through any means necessary. They used to be able to do it through a book, and then people started to be able to read the book. And once people learned how to read the book, it became a major issue where they can't control us through it anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah, and so it's like it's a vehicle for control. It's bad. Well, it's bad because okay, people shit on feudalism a lot. But okay, if you were a dirt farming peasant, you hardly ever interacted with your government except during tax season. Like you just like did your own thing for like 90% of the year, and then the tax guy came by. I was like, pay your taxes. And I was like, okay. And sometimes you'd get like raided by bandits or whatever. But you know, shit happens. It's everybody has hard days, right? And if you needed something, you had to like go for a week to the castle and petition your liege lord or petition the king or whatever. Probably your liege lord. You know, there's somewhat of bureaucracy, right? So it's like yes, technically you live in like a theocratic authoritarian regime, but with a hereditary monarchy, but you never interact with the government. We are the fucking rule by HR department is so much more oppressive than feudalism. Like every single aspect of our lives, we have to check in with some kind of oppressive, inefficient, feminine bureaucracy. And if you tell the truth at any time, what's crazy is like the amount of snitching. It's the snitching that kills me.
Well, and it's almost forced. So like we
Yeah.
were talking about that earlier. I think it might have been Arza that brought it up. Oh no, I think it was Iron, where you had to like mediate between these people, or both of you brought it up, whichever. Instead of just interacting with that person you're having a problem with, it's basically a requirement in corporate dynamics anywhere, where you have to go through your chain of command.
Yeah.
And you can't just go to the person who's on the same level causing the problems. I literally have to do that at my job. Like I have to take it to my manager, who takes it to their manager, who talks to them. It's the process.
Here's the other thing. This part of this started during COVID, right? So, because during COVID, you had people who were, in order for the name of safety, would call on their neighbor, call the authorities on their neighbors, or anyone they saw going to the beach, actually social distancing on their own. And though someone just merely going to the beach in an open air where no one else is around get arrested or harassed. It basically, this whole thing's going to be I think it's World War III is going to be like actually an internet war about or control and rights, and are you willing to give up your information or not? And we see this, all these laws and everything are happening globally at the same time by design. So that's like, I don't think it's, there's going to be wars and stuff where people are shooting each other, but I think the actual World War III is going to be more of a data information battle.
This isn't going to be World War III. This is going to be a global civil war. And the thing that ultimately happened, the reason we live in the age of culture, is the government forgot they're supposed to be afraid of us. We got a little too complacent. We realized that our comforts were a little too good, and we let them have our guns. The UK and Australia are only where they are because they gave up all their guns. What are they going to do? Rally with school pencils? There's no way for them to rebel against their government. And now it's going to be all the world governments creating this new world order or whatever else they want to do. I'm not going to put on the full tinfoil. Let's just put on like half one. They're going to create this new system that relies on the overreach of all hell dominating the internet. And then it's going to be the people fighting for their rights to have access to the internet and their own privacy.
How is this sustainable? That's my thing. I don't think you could just keep doing this to people. Like, I know they want us to like live in the pods and eat bugs and like own nothing and everything's going to be fine. But like, I don't think it's sustainable. Like, I mean, look at answer. Go ahead.
The answer is mass disobedience, right? So, because it's the same thing with prohibition, right?
That is mass genocide, which is always that kind of.
So here's the thing with porn: if you ban something that there's an obvious market for and people actually enjoy or whatever, whether you agree with it or disagree with it or not, that doesn't matter. People are, when you do a sudden ban of something like that, it creates a black market. So prohibition here in the United States, that's where you get the mobs and stuff. The war on drugs, you're just empowering the cartels where, hey, your government's blocking your access, we'll get it to you illegally. And that's what, we know about government selling guns and stuff to the cartels. That's the other story. But here, when it comes to the porn thing, you're just creating an incentive for people to go, okay, well, I'm going to use the Tor, go to the dark web, and now they have access to the more hardcore stuff or whatever.
That's going to create just like during Prohibition when they started making bathtub whiskey that made people go blind. You're creating a black market that's going to be a lot more underage content, a lot more, like Vagabond said, more hardcore. You're going to see more of the real dark stuff that we're trying to snuff out anyway, because it is already illegal and needs to be wiped out of existence. And that's just going to create a whole lot more of that, because their goal isn't to regulate the porn. It's not about that at all. That is just a smokescreen. It's about everything else. It's about speech. It's about political alignment. It's about whatever they deem to be unsafe.
Yeah. Well, this is go ahead.
Wrong thing.
How this could have happened. It's really easy. It's a philosophical concept known as foot in the door, where you just ask for a little bit. You ask for a little bit more, and you ask for a little more. You take an inch, you take an inch, you take an inch, you take an inch, and suddenly you've taken everything. They came in, they first like, well, why don't we just take away some of the food dyes that are poisoning your mind? Why don't we just take away some of the carcinogenics that might be causing this? Why don't we get rid of a pesticide that's causing cancer? Why don't we limit cellular towers because they're causing issues? Why don't we limit all these really tiny things that nobody really cares about, until eventually it's like, well, why don't we just take away a knife that's a little too long? You can have all your other knives. Why don't we take away your gun that has semi-automatic firing functions because that can shoot a little too quickly? And then eventually they're going to take all the little pieces until they can take the entire components, and there's nothing for you to say no to because you're so used to everything else they took from you.
And they control what you eat, what you own, if you own it, and
So
if you live or
own
die.
nothing, and you'll own nothing, and you will like it.
Yeah, and this is where the porn thing fucks me up, because the reason I don't like porn is because I think it corrupts the souls of men, and it makes you less likely to do the important shit that you're supposed to do. It really like saps your energy, and it's bad for your brain. And so, but here's the thing, because before you finish, Vagabond, because I do. It's in the government's interest if they want the society to be soft, compliant, and easy to control for porn to be ubiquitous like it is. Mm-hmm. So I don't even believe them when they say they want to get rid of it. And nothing that they're doing is everything that they're doing is just making the ecosystem worse. So it's like, I think the thing I resent the most is that I actually do I do think society's gross. I do want the porn to kind of go away a little bit. I'm losing viewers as I say this. My viewership is dropping so fast. I do. I think women should fucking wear clothes in public. Fucking sue me.
The difference is you know that it's not possible.
Yes, well, I know the only way to do it is what you guys keep saying, which is to fucking, when you see somebody, when your homie's like watching Pornhub on the bus, be like, bro, don't fucking do that. Stop being gross, you weirdo.
I think you need a couple things to what you just said, right?
Yeah.
So here's where the problem lies. One, the segregation laws are retarded, right? So the anti-segregation. And I'll tell you why. So back in the day, men used to hang out to be able to have spaces where, hey, we can have a club of just guys and we can do guy stuff while the women have hangout of just girls or whatever and do their stuff. And an example of how that used to be is the Flintstones. All the men were a part of the Water Buffalo Club, and they would go to that and do whatever. The girls, they would hang out at the mall or do other stuff on the side end, and they have their own little separate hangouts. We're right now we're living in a society that I want to make like the Boy Scouts, for instance, and the Girl Scouts. Now you're having it where it's like, hey, you can't have no girls not be allowed to the Boy Scouts. So now now they're forced to call them just the Scouts. And now you're on the Girl Scouts end. He's like, oh, you have to allow boys if they want to join it.
You know what's crazy, dude? I will let you continue. I just want to jump in and say one little caveat to what he just said. I just read a news story the other day that was bragging about an all-girl Boy Scout troop. Their point was never to integrate. It was never fairness. It was never parity. It was always to take it over and ruin it. That was always
what the Boy Scouts learn into the Girl Scouts. That's all you have to fucking do. Jesus Christ. Or change your goddamn name to Girls That Want to Be Boy Scouts. Like, what the fuck?
The ultimate goal is to take the Boy Scouts from the boys.
Of the girls who want to be Boy Scouts. I'm nominating you for that role.
But
I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place with this current conversation. This is what Vagabond was saying, because like men wanting to have, like, men had their own clubs, women had their own clubs. I don't want to be in the women's clubs, so I'm kind of just like, hey, can you just gatekeep? I'm cool, let me in, please.
Well,
I don't like that.
Honestly, that's always happened anyway. Even before gaming got popular, right? It would be like there's barely other girls that play. So then, hey, when there was a gamer girl, it's like, hey, come hang out with us. That's always been around. So, but the problem is, it's like when you're forced to have a group of people into your space that you don't need a bunch of them there. Same thing with people complaining about the all-white commune or whatever. Yet they had no problem with the all-black commune that was in Georgia, that failed too.
It's like,
they flipped the land for a profit.
And you think about it, there were all, like, when we say male spaces, it's spaces where men do stuff, but there was always like 10% of the people in that room were always women, just like floating around, hanging out, doing stuff. The reason, because like, it's fine. We don't mind having you guys there. Just don't fuck up the vibe. The problem is you're not in there in your capacity as a representative of the HR department.
Yes.
A lot of the time, sometimes they're for scenery or entertainment or good vibes or, we need somebody to sexually harass. Otherwise, it's not really that much fun.
That's
And
the
for
thing.
real.
So,
Like, just, yes.
Like-
It's like, so we need cool chicks that can hang and, like, curse and,
well,
you
a
need
good
that.
example of that is so gaming, right? So
Yes.
gaming and comics and a bunch of all that other stuff is mainly a male-dominated hobby for a reason. Ever since it got popular, you have people who really don't care about the games, and those are the people who are like, hey, well, how come the women are all dressed beautifully, or they make the women sexy and all that? They're forced into our spaces, and like, we don't mind girls in the spaces as long as they're cool with how the space already is. But you got these outsiders coming in and trying to make changes that they really don't really care about the hobby at all. And so that's what these like problems is like.
They create these
They go there
groups
specifically
in
to
Australia
change it.
that go to Visa and MasterCard and Stripe and PayPal and say, hey, you need to not let people buy shit on Steam because these games exist.
Yeah. Well, and corporations are really risk averse too. And so that's the other thing is they know how dangerous public backlash can be. So if you go to a corporation that doesn't really understand gaming and you show them a very goonery game, like because I'm an outsider in a lot of ways to that space. If you showed me a bunch of shit, I'd be like, yep, that's vile. I don't ever want to see that again. If you show that to somebody in a corporate office and you're like, this is what your card is funding and you should stop or else there's going to be public backlash or it's going to be harmful to kids or something like that. It's pretty ezy for them to be like, do the risk reward calculus.
That's my issue.
Okay. But you got to understand like so the guy whose desk that landed on is already working 70 hours a week and all of them are accounted for. He does not have time to research it and he doesn't care to.
Well, here's the actual problem.
But you can delegate it, but then the guy below you that you delegated that to is not someone you respect. It is a 22-year-old graduate of Berkeley who got an who works at your company for with her MRS degree because you were trying to fill some diversity quotient. And she looked at it and she was like, "Oh." And you're like, all right, that's good feedback. And you're like, all right, so my only refuting, it's not going to be Vagabond who gets to explain it. Okay. That's not who's looking at that.
Well,
I'm telling you, nobody,
you're going to do something like that.
Nobody friendly to you works at these places. They're just 100% hostile.
We have examples of this. So the Dylan Mulvaney bullshit with Budweiser, right? Where if the people actually understood the product and the culture around the product, Dylan Mulvaney wouldn't even been in there unless he was actually like a dude bro that drinks it like any redneck or any like party frat brother or whatever would do, right? But this guy is dressed up as a chick and drinking the drink or whatever, and we're supposed to like, oh well, that makes me want to go buy Bud Light. No. Like bring back the Budweiser frogs. Yeah. Like bring back the Budweiser frogs. Carl's Jr. or Hardee's, whatever, bring back the commercial where it's a hot chick eating a messy ass hamburger on top of a car and the ketchup's dripping over her.
And then and women's response to that was like, she doesn't really eat that hamburger. She doesn't really eat fast food. She's too skinny. And it's just like, shut your whore mouth.
Women being the problem.
God, yes.
I do have a question
Super
for you,
Bowl
Theo.
commercials.
Do you guys think that OnlyFans was made as a psyop?
Yes.
I don't.
I've wondered that. The barrier to entry for prostitution has gotten way too low.
So that we made people so anti by just making it so easy to do.
Okay, that's interesting because my first thought was they were trying to destroy relationships on purpose and also get women to be freelance whores, which is horrible for birth rates, right?
Well,
okay, so that was my first thought. But what you're saying is something different. You're saying by getting everything saturated with just filth, they make everybody tired of porn, create public outcry for censorship, and then come in and provide the censorship.
I mean, It's not a bad thought.
And then the funny thing is the porn doesn't go anywhere.
Well, right.
It's never about that.
Like in the end, like you're gonna be able to find it.
And what's crazy is they've created all this
And they're gonna
demand
make-
for
yeah.
personalized content, and then they did that right as the AI video stuff went out. The day Google released their AI video tools, the guy who owns OnlyFans put it up for sale at a discount because he can see the future. He knows what's happening. I didn't get to do Touch Grass that week because I was on the road. I was at Yakima Valley Comedy Festival, but yeah, dude, that was a huge. I was like, ruh-roh. Like the part of me that recognizes patterns and predicts trends was like, ruh-oh, that's the part the vaccines gave me.
Yeah.
Autism.
Honestly, I don't mind OnlyFans existing. It's just because it came after like, well, originally OnlyFans was like Patreon. And it was like an alternative to Patreon where, hey, you cook or whatever. Patreon has, if you have the wrong thing, you can't use our platform.
Sure.
And we've seen that with Sargon and Akkad and stuff. So that's where Patreon came in. And I mean, that's where OnlyFans came in, which was basically an alternative.
Yeah,
to
that's
Patreon.
why it's called OnlyFans and not titsandass.com.
Right.
Because
but since they were very lenient compared to Patreon, that's when you start seeing girls get on there, and they can make it just happen naturally because they're like, well, Patreon's being strict. I can go to here, and they don't care as much, and I could do whatever. And I think this is
the same way. This is how Rumble became Nazi YouTube. Was the same way. They're just more permissive. So the people who are hurt the most by YouTube's restrictive rules end up there. And so it ends up being like just the worst people you can imagine hanging out over there.
They only use PayPal and I can't get my money.
But the problem also OnlyFans is having is you're getting a ton of girls getting on there, but it's only a top few that's actually making decent amount of money. The rest are like.
And the real problem with that is you're so right, but women don't understand statistics and averages, and they all believe they're special. So there's like no way you can explain this to them. You actually can't. Most of them can't understand that.
I feel like OnlyFans was an inevitable progression, like with the internet, porn, prostitution, all of that. Like eventually it was just going to lead to that. And then to Arza's point, it was seen as a way to become the PSYOP, to oversaturate, because like degeneracy has kind of just always been there, but generally it's been out of sight, out of mind, because they kept it in the bedroom. Right. Or in the deep, dark alleyways. But OnlyFans just became a way to oversaturate and show those
it's also modern feminism because because to even attack it now is you're attacking the women and their right, and this is empowering for them, and it's a feminist thing, and that also did not help either. So it's like, okay, being a whore does not make you feminine.
Well, here's the funny thing to that point. Look who's now joining our side to fight against the censorship. Anita Sarkeesian.
Yeah, I saw that.
What do you think about that? As like, it's gotta. Is this like when the U.S. and Stalin teamed up in World War II?
I think some people are going to frame it as being disingenuous, but I think what it is they came for her side. And they came for her side a little too early, because when you get rid of porn games, you're getting rid of a whole lot of gay games. A lot of the LGBT shit is going right out the window, because you can't have that in a civilized society if you're getting rid of porn. And the funny one is there was a game called Mouthwashing that was a cheap horror game that was all about like sexual violence. And what they actually did is they lied about their game getting banned by the Visa card blocks so that people would buy it on Steam when it was never even on the itch.io server to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah, but besides them, there are, because I play adult only games on Steam. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a gooder.
But you're so sweet and innocent.
No, like
I swear it's not hentai.
So, I swear it's not hentai, but I do have adult games on, and someone I know from the GCA, he'd be sending me shit too, and I just
someone sent you,
No, but I send him games too because I think they're funny. Because a lot of these games, no, I'm serious. I like playing crappy games.
To make fun of
even
them.
if they, not even that. Like they're so broken that it's funny.
Dude,
There's
I know.
a game
I watched
called,
Girls Gone Wild for the comedy.
Oh, what? There's a game called Boobs 'Em Up. It's like Turtles in Time, and you pick a stripper, and you're like fighting another stripper. Like that's a game, and like it's hilarious, right? I could go on and on, but there's a lot of funny games. I know you're looking at me weird, but
I mean, you can see these games anytime you go to Steam for like a sale and you go to like the under $5 or some shit. Those games are prominent.
But like, so some of them be having high positivity ratings, and you're like, let me go see. And then you read the comments. Oh, I can't believe I wasted 5 minutes of this game, but it was awesome. And like, so you try it out and just see what it was. Yeah, but they're there. They're funny. But like as an anime guy, I do watch a lot of ecchi anime or whatever. Which I swear it's not hentai, but like one of the
what it is.
Yeah, like one show I got 2 more episodes left. It's Please Put Them on Takumi-san, right? It's not the greatest looking anime ever, but it's about a chick that wants to be super perfect in her classroom. And the way she does it is when she removes her underwear, it disappears out of the universe, and she's able to reverse time. And the male student was in the locker room inside the storage room and saw her removing her bra. And so since he saw her breasts, he's able to retain his memory of what happened before she reversed time. So she found out and threatened to like go to the authorities that he was doing stuff to her unless he agrees to be her personal closet where he keeps all the underwear for her. And like,
is there a censorship tie-in coming? Are you building up
no,
something?
What I'm just saying, the stuff is hilarious. I'm in it for the story, and or like there's a
is story like, one of the characters' names?
No, but there's another show called Plus Size Elf, and
I have a friend who's obsessed with Plus Size Elf.
Yeah, so Plus Size Elf is a story where a gate comes and opens to our world. She gets in our world.
I have my ex's phone number saved.
Yeah,
basically it's about an elf who's obsessed with McDonald's French fries. She gets really fat, loses all the weight, then eats the French fries and gets fat again, and then loses all the weight again.
Well, so no, hold on, let me explain it. So Plus Size Elf, she comes to our world, she discovers fast food and can't stop eating it because there's no fast food in her D&D fantasy world. But she can't get back into the portal unless she goes back in the weight she originally started at when she came to our world. So she has to lose all the weight, and then she can go back into her world. But so it creates this whole funny thing. Then other elves are coming into our world or whatever. It's absolutely hilarious. It's a comedy, but other than that, it's just they're funny. So, and like, yeah, there's like nudity scenes or whatever, but it's not like porn or whatever. But there are actual hentai stuff out there. But a lot of the stuff is just funny and hilarious. So I just watch them.
All right, and I guess the point of that is that it would bum you out if your credit card company was like, you can't buy this, right? Got it. Okay. Good.
Well, and it's such fucking bullshit. Like, you are there to give the money that I want the money to go to. That is all.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Vagabond, I'll be honest with you. That all sounds ridiculous, and I would be ashamed to say it in front of people. But hold on. Let me follow up. If the credit card could say you can't buy that, what's to stop them for? I didn't know they were allowed to tell me what I couldn't spend money on. I didn't know that was a rule. And they have all my money, and they have a monopoly too.
Yes.
So that could go to anything. It's like, oh no, you can't subscribe to, like you keep saying, InfoWars. You can't subscribe to InfoWars. That's not allowed. We're not going to process
there is an example. So a few years back, I think during COVID itself, they were trying to limit ammo price. It was either Visa or MasterCard, or one of them was like, Visa. Hey, if you can't buy this many bullets because we think something's up.
Yeah.
And then
they're monitoring what you spend. And
unless I'm doing something actually illegal, just process my payment. That's why you're a payment processor. Let the authority, if I was buying something that's actually illegal, let the authorities deal with it. like all the games that got banned off of Steam, none of those games broke Steam's rules, and none of them broke the rules in the United States. It was just a payment processor didn't like what was on there, and some of those ladies like Collective Shout have tie-ins to Visa and MasterCard in Australia, so that's how they had kind of part of clout in that shit.
And this is where it's a problem why all of our currency is turning towards digital, and why there are so many places where cash isn't allowed, because they want to be able to control you through that.
And like I said, we seen what happened to Alex Jones in Connecticut. As soon as they deemed his speech dangerous, they try to strip everything from him, and thank God he lived in Texas.
Look what happened in Canada. If you said anything anti-lockdowns, they shut down your bank account. They froze your bank account. You lost access to all your money.
Michael Knowles just recently had his cards blocked.
Michael Knowles, I was going to bring that up too. Like he'd been going back and forth with them for a year or two or something like that, I think, before he even brought it up.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. That's just like, because it's not, and their reason for blocking him is, I guess, his anti-abortion activism.
Yeah, go fuck yourselves.
Crazy.
I don't like using evil and demonic for things, but that's your reasoning? Excuse me?
Yeah, well, see, the other thing, they're bypassing our freedom of speech when they do that, right? So even if I disagree, Theo disagrees with me of watching these ecchi and playing these ecchi games or whatever, right? But if Theo was a payment processor, and even if he disagreed with me, it's not his right to be like, hey, I'm stopping you from purchasing the thing that I disagree with.
But like one of the funniest things that I saw was under the listing, they had there was a list of some fetish things that they wanted to block. There were also just like healthcare items.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
I think the main one I saw was incontinence products. They were blocking the sale of those because some people use it for fetish, but other people use it for actual health
life.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. Some people have different perceptions of what actual porn and what's dangerous speech and stuff is.
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest problems with this whole discussion is that porn is really, really hard to define. And it's really what constitutes obscenity is it's
dependent on the
subject to
person.
community standards, but it's legally it's really hard to define. It's like involves a prurient interest and has no artistic value. And I think it's pretty clear.
They all have artistic value.
And that's kind of the thing. It's like, okay, what do you mean no artistic value? Like some of the stuff Vagabond talks about to me doesn't have a lot of artistic value to me personally, but they have huge thousands and thousands of people who agree that it does. And they think they're like, so is it my standard or is it their standard? Like, I don't like anime
let's
at
go
all.
Let's go to the Melanie Mack, the First Descent controversy just a few months ago. She was calling that game pornography while praising another game that was a little more risque, being Stellar Blade.
Yeah, and
so it's dependent. Is she going to be the one deciding what is and what is not? She's also saying the American Eagle ads are pornography.
Well, here's the other thing. Back in the day, it was women weren't allowed to show their ankles because that was seen indecent for society. Then
they had staircases made where women went to the right and men went to the left because they have to lift up their skirts and their ankles would show.
Based.
Like, we should bring that back.
I agree. Bring back separate staircases.
Well, it also brings back like actual architecture that's appealing and not modern.
Yeah. See what we lost?
Yeah, where am I?
Vagabond keeps trying to make a point. Vagabond keeps trying to make a point. What are you trying to say?
Well,
I derailed.
No worries. But the other thing is like there's different instances of someone might say something's dangerous for society that other people don't think is dangerous. We had the back in the 90s, Harry Potter is witchcraft and therefore we need to ban it from society. Do those people get to decide? Then you had back in the 90s, rap music, 80s, rock and heavy metal.
The Satanic Panic, metal, D&D, comic books.
Yeah, then
I mean, rap music back then was also teaching people that drugs, sex, and whoring and shit was
And
totally
violence.
cool status.
And
Well,
the
okay.
CIA had their hand in making sure
That's what's
got
fucking me
out
up.
there.
Okay, that's this point Iron's making right now. Okay, this is important. So Juice WRLD died because he took too much Percocet, and he took Percocet because he heard Future talking about Percocet, and he thought that was cool. These are rappers for the white audience. And he took Percocet because he heard Future talking about Percocet. Here's the thing: when they told Future that later, he said, "I never actually took Percocet. I just rapped about it."
Yeah.
So this stuff does have an impact. We hear a song that says,
Man,
shake your ass like a
girl.
degenerate. All the women start doing it, and they're screaming the lyrics too. So this stuff does have an impact. But Iron's right, because this is what's fucked up. It's clear that the government is doing this shit on purpose to create a calls for censorship. So that
create
they
a problem that only they can solve.
Well,
It's the same
I
thing
mean,
with porn.
you could take it back to the Titanic sinking with those
Who was on the boat?
like and then the central banking became a thing.
Well, I think here's also why the government's part of the problem, while trying to make it like they're the solution at the same time. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to hip hop and rap, a lot of the times the reason why it's so influential negatively on the Black community is because the Black community in this government right now has doesn't allow Black people to have self accountability at all. It's always a slap on the wrist, and that's part of the problem. To where, hey, yeah, like I'll listen to rock too, but there's rock and country songs talking about killing people as well, or eating people or whatever. Oh, not country eating people.
No,
but
that's true.
There's and they don't have the same problem like hip hop does. And the reason why is because the Black community's not held at the same standards like everyone else. So,
but who doesn't hold them to that accountability? It's the government.
The government. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, why would they do that?
Yes, and they every message.
Why would they flood the inner city with crack and create an epidemic?
Yeah. Well, that only targeted the bad ones. So
that's the messaging is crazy because it's like this is the messaging that they tell you in law school if they're going to education school, like you're going to be a teacher. They prime you to think that it's like yes per capita. We understand all this data of all these problems per capita, but that's only because of poverty and it's because of oppression and all these stuff. But by layering on all of these external causes, what you're saying to the people at the bottom of that one, to the people who have the agency to understand it, what they're saying is you have no chance. Don't even try to improve your life. Mm-hmm. And what you're really saying is like, oh, well, you can't expect these people to behave in a civilized manner. I mean, which is the worst thing. I can't imagine a more racist statement to say, well, what do you expect? It's just, like, I can't, like, you would not say that about a group of people that you liked and respected and wanted good things to happen to. It's the most evil idea you could put in their minds, is that your life is you could just do whatever you want and who cares because you have no agency.
Well, like, here's an example of what I'm talking about, right? So, where Black people just get a slap on the wrist. You rob some liquor store in California, right? You do get arrested, but the DA is like, "Hey, we're setting the bail to $1,000, and you just do probation for 10 to 30 days, and that's it." And
that's only if you steal so much,
amount
of.
The problem relies is that person now. Even if that person makes a song about what they did, people around that see him is like, hey, he got away with it. He basically suffered no consequences, and now he's making money, making music about what he did. I can do the same thing too, and it spreads. It's just Black people right now. The mass majority of Black people have a lot of morality, and a part of it is Black people being coddled. Where, well, the reason why there are riots is because of slavery that they never got to experience, and white people still owe them reparations. It's okay that they do that and burn down the whole city.
Bro, you know what's so crazy is they did the same thing to women. And so I want to talk about the T app real quick because it kind of ties to the online privacy thing, but it also ties to what Vagabond is talking about right now. So, so obviously there was the data privacy leak for the T app, and the T app was the idea was how it was sold was women can tell each other about dangerous men they might be dating or men who are serial cheaters or whatever. And what of course it became was just a place for women to just like gossip and say like slanderous things about men who had broken up with them. That's all it was. That's all it was.
To make up shit like they do.
Yes.
Me too.
Yes.
Type
and
of
then,
bullshit.
yes. And then, so this is the kind of stuff that can like really be harmful to a guy's reputation. And they're just, this is the way in which women are violent and women are most harmful. This is the most harmful to society, female antisocial behavior. And this was an app that just like made it super easy. And they didn't do a good job protecting their data. So all these women got leaked. And then the people on 4chan made like a hot or not. So they're all getting ELO scores and you can rate them and you do this or that. And so you can see the top 50 winners and the top 50 losers. And it's rough, man. It's tough. It's tough.
Well, even too,
and what I'm saying is, this is like, and the women were like, how dare you do this? This is male rage. We just wanted to protect ourselves from assault. And it's like, no, you didn't. And no one believes you. But these are women who've never faced consequences for their antisocial behavior before. And this is so important. This is something I want to drive home. This is so important. There are some people who do not have an internal sense of right and wrong. They do not. This is most people. I think a lot of people who have agency, which I think is the people in this panel and the people who listen to this show. I have a very high IQ audience. Shout out to the audience. Shout out to the 4%. Right? I can tell the people in my audience have agency. Okay. Most people don't. So a lot of people don't have an internal sense of I shouldn't do this because it's wrong. I shouldn't do this because it hurts people. I shouldn't do this because if everyone in society did this, it would be bad for society. They don't have that. All they understand is external punishment. That's it. And so the women on this app are only going to learn if they get punished. This is why I keep saying we need to bring back the scold's bridle. This is a device they used to use in the Middle Ages. If you were a gossipy broad, they would just clamp your mouth shut
Theo
for a while.
just wants to punish women.
No, but listen. Okay, hear me out. This is going to be deep. Look at the proliferation of BDSM. And then if you look at all of the BDSM shit that is super popular that women keep asking men to do to them, because that's how men get into it. Men don't want to do this shit. Y'all bitches ask for it. And let me tell you what.
Point it. Me.
We're going to, okay, listen, hear me out. I'm cooking right now. Listen, I'm doing your job. I'm cooking. Listen, all of the BDSM gear that's like super popular is reminiscent of medieval punishments. I think women know that they're out of pocket and they want to get punished. I think somewhere deep down, subconsciously,
the natural instinct,
because they know they're behaving.
This Von Coleman's meme when we need it.
This is where listen, hear me out. I'm right about this. They're screaming out for punishment. I think they want it because they know they're out of pocket, and you have to give it to them. I mean, I don't. But someone does. Someone does. It might as well be me, I guess is what I'm building up to. The point is the TF. That's what I wanted to. You have to punish the shit publicly, and you have to punish it so harshly that they don't try it again. Because that's the only way they're going to learn. And that's why I think turning it into a hot or not, where you like dox these women and then rate their attractiveness, you got to do shit like that because they literally won't learn any other way. They won't learn unless you punish them in a way that they will understand, that will deter other people from doing this. You actually have to have punishment. You have to have accountability. Because if you're saying they can't do better, then you're just saying you don't really think that they're people. Where'd you go?
Well, I want to add on to that. We also see that with the pride parades, right? So, I think pride parades are retarded. And same thing with Black Pride too. I think that's retarded. But the thing is, at the Pride parades it's not a regular parade. It's a bunch of degeneracy out in the open in public, and then kids are able to watch it. And there's no one going, hey, we've seen what happened in Florida when we were like, hey, you can have your Pride parades, but kids aren't allowed. Then the Pride parades stopped. It was like, Like you can't have people just sucking each other off in front of everyone in the public street and like face no consequences. And so that's where the pride parades is just a bunch of like degeneracy in public or whatever, and there's
Yes.
no shame about it. And so it's like, it's not about equality, it's because you're just into nasty shit in front of everybody.
Well, there's a bigger social concern when it comes to the T app that's very, very well documented. We talked about it a little bit with the black stuff that's going on, but women won't take accountability for their actions. And that is what the T app ended up becoming. Women upload their photos, their driver's license, all of their personal information to a place that could not be verified as being secure. And then when it caused problems, oh, well, it's the men's fault. Even though we were the ones attacking men. We were lying about them. We were slandering them. We were legitimately committing crime against men. And we just had our data that was not protected, that we had no interest in making sure was protected, getting leaked. And now it's men's fault.
Well, here's the other thing to that. Sony always has a data breach somehow, and I've been affected by every single data breach where you need to change your password because someone hacked into our systems or some bullshit that Sony's done every time. Like you're having me trust companies to like, imagine if Sony had all my personal information and they got hacked again or some shit, Like that's what the government's telling you to do when you're asking for let's protect kids and you need an ID just to go on the simple internet. It's like,
yeah, dude. And so now this ties into what we were talking about earlier. It's like, you're like, yeah, no matter who, if we give all of our identifying information to these private companies so that we get access to the internet, who's to say that they're going to protect it properly, right? Who's to say? Like how many even like places
that's
like
the
banks,
thing, they're not.
Yeah, for a fact, it's not a question of if all that information will get leaked. It's a question of when. So
when is immediately and on purpose.
Remember, I don't know if you guys remember this. There was like a Russian kid, Yeah, there was a kid in like Russia, and he was hacking bank accounts and like deleting people's overdrafts and stuff or whatever.
Doing God's work.
That's how he was. Yeah,
right.
But it's like if a mere kid could do that, you're asking online banking to have all my IDs and shit too and store that information.
Okay. Think about this. The government didn't predict that if they passed this law, people would buy VPNs. Mm-hmm. They're not even thinking one move ahead. That's how far.
Well, the government's also incompetent. It's like,
and that's why you shouldn't trust them with your kids or anything at all.
It's a big, slow-moving bureaucracy that time and time again demonstrates its incompetence and its hysterical nature. And it's demanding to be in charge of everything, while at the same time demonstrating time and time again that it shouldn't be. That's crazy. That's crazy that we keep listening to them about anything. That's crazy.
We.
As we the people.
Okay.
We keep
this is how
stuff.
California is another example of how government's incompetent, right?
Yeah.
So not only they raised the minimum wage to $20 an hour for fast food workers, all the fast food workers are losing their fucking jobs, and then didn't work, obviously. So Los Angeles is supposed to have Olympics pretty soon or whatever, right? I don't know the dates or whatever.
28.
So they had all these contracts to build hotels, with these hotels to build brand new hotels to get ready for the Olympics. You know what they decided to do? Oh, well, people are like, what if we raise the minimum wage for hotel workers to $30 an hour? Hotels are like, that's stupid. You're cutting into our profits and we can't sustain that. So you know what? We're cutting all these contracts and we're fucking leaving. Matter of fact, you also allow riots and people to burn down buildings and shit. So it's like, why should we even stay here for the fucking Olympics? And so now you got these government officials like, well, why are they leaving? We have government officials like, why is there food deserts here in like Oakland and shit? And they can't put two to two together. You want to trust these motherfuckers with your fucking safety? Fuck them.
Yeah.
One thing earlier I found funny. I've went on many rants on this channel and multiple other panels where I'm talking about women, and I always say they as if I'm not part of that group. and I realize it. What I realized today is there is something Arza does, and he speaks for that group, but says we. So I found that kind of hilarious that Arza was sitting here talking about the women, and he was saying we, and I can't bring myself to say that. I just want to, like, I differentiate myself from them.
I'm not sure where you're drawing this quote
Just
from.
one of the girls,
I don't
right,
recall
Arza?
doing that. But it's the royal or projected
it's
we.
royal we, but I can't even bring myself to do that. So it's interesting that Arza does.
I just have more empathy than you.
Oh my god!
Oh wow!
Are you like sure? Like the moment he realized what the fuck.
Stop! We're not spreading this meme.
I don't have the actual video meme, but I got that.
I didn't do anything.
Damn it, Iron! You distracted from Arza's embarrassment.
It is
No, that was not embarrassing. That was funny. Get it right, gal.
The implication. All right.
What?
I don't know if I've ever spoken with that kind of attitude.
But here's the other thing that advocates on our side and the other side who are advocating for the ban of porn. Here's the other thing they don't realize. There's a market of people just like them that don't want kids to have access to porn. And that's why there's companies out there that make parental blockers and they make kid-friendly computers and phones that can't access the main internet. You need to access that shit and leave everyone else alone.
Yeah.
But it goes back to that whole it takes a village mentality.
Yeah.
But it needs the daddy government to come in to do it because parents can't be trusted to make their own and actually raise their own children to buy that type of equipment if they're going to give them technology.
Well,
and a lot of people that are advocating for protecting the children don't even have any of their own.
Yeah.
They want to dictate the protection of your children and what you can do with your children. And then that goes into who gets well, we'll take your kids away if you don't let them transition or if you don't teach them this or if you do teach them that.
Fuck CPS.
Well, the other thing too, like I said, they're trying to blur the lines to what children can and consent to or whatever as well. So like the whole ignoring the parents and it takes a village and all that. Remember we had a lady in Australia talking about you need to ask your baby the permission to change its dirty diaper, right?
The fuck are you talking about? What?
Yeah, have you seen that news clip?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Emerald, can you find that clip?
thing.
Can you find that clip?
I will try.
That would be great. Yeah.
God.
So this all goes back to John motherfucking Money. That guy is trying to blur the line. He's the whole, hey, there's more than one gender or gender fluidity and all that type of stuff.
Bullshit and abused children in doing so for his research.
And here's the other thing too. When you're saying kids can make this life-changing decisions at the age of 3 to 5 years old, you're saying kids can consent. That's what it's leading to. And that's the ultimate goal of all this shit is.
Yeah.
Is, hey, you eventually you're gonna have someone who's like, well, if kids can transition, well then I could transition to whatever age I say I am, and I can be around whatever kids and legally unprotected because you're discriminating against me. That's all it leads to is they're trying to blur the lines and try to make it say that kids can consent.
Well, did you guys see one of the recent video from Kirsha?
No.
I can't watch VTubers.
Fair.
I watch
Even
right because you respect yourself. Yeah.
But Kirsha did a video breaking down this 70-year-old man who left his wife and kids to be a 6-year-old.
Yeah, I saw that.
And was adopted by another elderly couple who has another trans-aged child. And that child wanted a little sister. So this man with kids, he would apparently force his kids to put makeup on or put makeup and nail polish on him, or he wouldn't help them with his homework, or he wouldn't help them with their homework and stuff like that. But he was lying and saying they were supportive. And then all of a sudden his Catholic wife was being homophobic and kicked him out. And he left his entire family and went and lived as a 6-year-old girl with some elderly BDSM couple.
Yeah, it's basically just.
Oh God, what's with the jump scare? Jesus
Yeah.
fuck.
Sorry.
This is the lady I'm talking about.
How young are some of the children you talk to?
We work from children from 3 years old. We work with parents from birth.
From birth?
Yeah. Just about how to set up a culture of consent in their homes. So I'm going to change your nappy now. Is that okay? Of course, the baby's not going to respond, yes, Mum, that's awesome. I'd love to have my nappy changed. But if you leave a space
Fuck
and
off.
wait for body language and wait to make eye contact, then you're letting that child know that their response matters.
But it doesn't matter though. Their response doesn't. Their response is irrelevant.
You ever tried to change the diaper on a baby? They hate it. They don't want you to change their diaper because it means they're laying down.
Oh my god.
But
their response.
That's
is
what I'm
not
saying.
relevant.
It's all this is to say kids can consent. That's where the whole thing is to blur the lines. The reason why we protect kids is because kids can't consent for themselves. Like, I used to think I could be transformed to a Super Saiyan, or whatever when I first saw Dragon Ball Z.
And that occurs.
I tried to.
Yeah, imagine if I tried. Hey, maybe I can fly like Goku, and I was on the fucking roof, and like I asked my parents, like, "Hey, watch when I jump or some shit," and the parents was like, "Okay, well, you can decide for yourself." No, that's not how shit works. And same thing, but like. Hey,
you know what the answer is? Ban Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Go wash your mouth.
Honestly, they're trying to do that too because Dragon Ball has Dragon Ball is not really made for kids. There's scenes where Master Roshi and Bulma, it's part of the comedy.
Such a fucking gooner. He's like the OG gooner.
Yeah, well, also that was the issue, but that was okay. I agree. Like that, like the people who made it did not make it for kids. And then in America, we're like, cartoons are for children, right? Should be fine. And then we just showed it to kids. They showed it to kids, and we, you changed the dubbing and took some stuff out, whatever. But like at the end of the day, that's our fault for doing that. Like that's not the fault of the people who created it, and that doesn't make the
thing is, it's some things just go over kids' heads sometimes too. So like Tom and Jerry has every way you can kill somebody. That's literally the show is. It's how
thank you.
Like every way. I'll try not to say the word, but every way you can M somebody. Don't kill. Stop me, YouTube. Yeah, bubble somebody. But like. But it was just, it's part of the comedy. That's the skits, and it's funny. Wile E. Coyote dropping anvils on people, setting up traps, and tying people on train tracks and all that type of stuff. Like, it's always, most cartoons are not made for kids. A lot of the cartoons were like during war times and stuff like that. That's how come you got.
The thing is, like, even with Master Roshi, those scenes were not shown as a good thing.
Right.
Like he would be shamed for those things, for gooning, for like being a pervert. It was never like highlighted as, oh, this is a good thing. You should be doing this. No, it was always just like he would get punched by the women. Like
Johnny Bravo.
Yes.
Same thing.
Don't do that to Vagabond. He likes it.
Well,
but look,
I mean, if you look at it,
that's a misconception that cartoons are for kids only. That kind of got pushed in that direction. Look at the Flintstones. They were advertising cigarettes, and that wasn't for, as much as people want to say, oh, that was just to advertise for kids. No, that's because you believe cartoons are only for kids. The Flintstones was actually an adult cartoon. That's why they were advertising cigarettes for adults.
Winston cigarettes.
Winston's.
Well, we can see the overcorrection as well. Like, if you guys have seen the Harley Quinn animated show, one of the worst things ever made. How do we tell them this isn't for kids? It's constant sex, blood, and swearing. Every third word is the fuck, and they think it's funny. You know, everybody's got to like see spurting blood everywhere because they think it's funny and edgy and makes them more adult.
I'll give you an example. Spider-Man, the animated series. There's a scene. Well, one, they had rules so they can allow it for kids to watch, which, hey, you can't have actual guns, so they switched it to lasers. But they still had stuff that would go over kids' heads. So there's, I laugh at it, so I'll probably be going to hell. So there's a girl in the Spider-Man the animated series. She has cancer, but you don't know that yet. And she's like, hey, can you show me your secret identity? So Spider-Man takes off his mask and he's like, "You're Peter Parker." And normally he doesn't show anyone his secret identity. Mm-hmm. He leaves the girl's window and they pan out and it's she's in the girl's in a hospice. But they don't tell, if you're a kid, you don't put two to two together. But as an adult, you watch that scene, it's like, oh shit, that the reason why he told her his secret identity because she was dying anyway.
So when I was when I was in my teens, I hated shows. I still hate these shows, but shows that are stupid humor, like Ed, Ed and Eddie, or even fucking SpongeBob. I despise SpongeBob because it treats kids like they're stupid. And I hated that because kids can understand things and also not pick up on certain like subtleties until they're older and you go back and you see. But like, they're not stupid. So stop just giving them stupid humor. It's why I don't like stupid humor. I mean, adult movies are obviously not for kids, but I still just hate stupid humor. Hey, Will Ferrell, I hate him.
Ed, and Eddie is absolutely hilarious. I'm sorry.
No, it's stupid humor. Michael, I'm not fucking talking to you.
Well, like, there's a lot of things in Ed and Eddie that even goes over kids' heads. So they got a lot of old school black and white monster movie references in there.
Well, and also with Ed, Ed and Eddie, it's just like the art of it sucks. I hate that kind of art.
Oh man. Well, you know what happened? How Ed and Eddie got created? So it was on a bet. So these two guys had a bet, and the bet was, I bet you can't make a kids cartoon and be successful. So the other guy goes, all right, watch me. And that's how Ed and Eddie came about.
It's still stupid humor. I hate it. I really cannot stand it.
It's hilarious.
I think it treats the audience like they're idiots.
I don't think so. Because like them building stuff and like the whole ploy is how to scam other kids and get their quarters so you can go buy what you want with the jawbreakers.
It's stupid.
All right. So is there a tie-in to privacy? Is the thumbnail?
She doesn't understand the complexities of Ed and Eddie. That's the problem.
Oh my god, it's not fucking complex.
Maybe it's just going over your head, gal. I don't know.
Maybe you can bite me.
I might. All right. Let's keep it going though. Anybody else not get to talk about what they wanted to talk about? I'm sure there's something in there, right? Have we done this to death?
No, I feel like they all tied into each other. It was actually
there we go. It was good. Yeah, and I don't know. It's
bringing up the MasterCard, I do have.
Yeah.
Let me find Irons.
Why he finds that? I am actively trying to remove MasterCard and Visa from my life now.
Well, so, how do you what's your alternative? How do you do that? How do you do something like that?
so turns out Discover and American Express do debit cards, and they got online checking because most of your banks use Visa and MasterCard as the payment processor between you and your bank and whatever you're trying to spend money on.
Something to be weary about for those two specifically is they charge a higher rate to the businesses. So some businesses don't accept them. I feel like over the years, it's probably changed where more businesses do, but basically like they take a higher cut, a higher percentage.
Yeah. But in saying that Discover's easier to like, hey, I need an ATM to withdraw money. Discover's good to go on that end. Not MasterCard, but American Express is harder to find ATMs that also take American Express. So, but those are alternatives than trying to rely heavily on because pretty much if you look at all your bank cards, it's most likely MasterCard or Visa. Cash App uses Visa. Square uses MasterCard. Like most of your banks is either between those two or whatever. So I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get these out of my life and once and for all, mainly out of principle. Fuck them too.
Well, that's why I don't have a fucking PayPal, and that's why Rumble pisses me off.
So as it reads, it's clarifying recent headlines on gaming. MasterCard will not evaluate any game or require restrictions for any activities on game creator sites and platforms, contrary to media reports and allegations. Our payment network follows standards based on the rule of law. Put simply, we allow all lawful purchases on our network. At the same time, we require merchants to have appropriate controls to ensure MasterCard cannot be used for unlawful purchases, including illegal adult content.
Okay, I see. Okay, so
they got community noted to add to that on X.
Really? What did it say?
Yep. Yeah. Is this on X? I know I posted it before.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the community. So let me pull it back up here because here's a community note. Okay, both Steam and
itch.io
have started to remove their adult content came from pressure by payment processors, including MasterCard. And then furthermore, MasterCard and other payment processors have a documented history of refusing service to Japanese retailers over legal adult content.
Oh, so yeah, I forgot about that, which is important to add to this conversation. So that's been going on for the past 2 years now, where so right now manga and anime is one of the biggest sellers in the United States, and that's one of Japan's biggest exports. Like Dragon Ball itself is holding up Japan's economy by over 80%. I might got that number wrong, but that's how come they're keeping Dragon Ball going, because it's actually holding up Japan's economy.
It's also
but what's happening is a lot of Japanese companies and manga and anime, they do a lot of adult theme stuff, which like I said, is mainly generated for adults. But what happens is before they bring it overseas, MasterCard and Visa's like, hey, we don't like this material. You need to make changes or you won't be able to sell your product overseas. And so Japan's right now, there's two guys. There's a guy that's went into Congress because he's a weeb like me, and another guy who went into Japanese Congress, who's the author of Love Hina, which is another one of my favorite harem series. But they're trying to keep Japan's freedom of expression and stop foreigners like Visa and MasterCard from telling them what to do. And right now they're looking into laws and stuff to prevent Visa and MasterCard from directing what materials they can produce.
It's because MasterCard and these other payment processors have lost sight of who they actually are and what their actual business is. You process payments. That's all you do.
It's also worth mentioning, though, that the reason why MasterCard is trying to put out this little excerpt, trying to protect them, is their customer support has been nonstop flooded with calls of gamers and anti-censorship people who have just been nonstop spamming their call centers day and night. Nobody, if there's a real problem, no one can get through. Their stock prices have fallen because of these changes and the effect on the cost of running their call centers. And the people working the call centers have actually been screaming at some of the callers, calling them like masturbators and just insulting them for calling about it.
Interesting. Well, okay, so this is so MasterCard's statement is very clearly wrong. It's like, yeah, we just want to make sure that
we're just following the law.
But then in reality, they are pressuring these companies to behave in a certain way. The companies are like, yo, they're pressuring us, so we caved. Because it's like, well, what are you going to do? The payment processors have a monopoly, so they kind of call the shots.
Well,
and is this now? Let me ask you this: do you think this is going to be down? Do you think downstream of this is them pressuring the payment processor? Says, I want to make sure only adults are buying adult content. Therefore, you, the person who hosts the content, you have to have these restrictions on your site where people have to submit ID and face scan to prove that they're adults, so that they can access.
Here's what it's happening. So right now, all the games that were banned on Steam did not break any laws, and they didn't break any rules of Steam in particular. Yeah, basically they were all good to go. What happened is the payment processors told Steam and itch.io that if you don't remove these games, then we will stop being your payment processor. Steam and itch.io are 100% online, and they have if you remove MasterCard and Visa, like I said, we all pretty much, if you're using a debit card, even a credit card, you're pretty using between MasterCard or Visa, and that's it.
Yeah.
Unless you do happen to have Discover or American Express. So if they remove that from Steam, that hurts Steam's whole company because they can't sell any game, even if it doesn't. They won't be able to sell any game if they can't use the payment processor at all.
You know, I do want to. Or what if they're not actually lying to us, and they were told by a governing agency that they had to implement these changes, and so it's being distilled from a government to the MasterCard and Visa, but they're actually just hiding the law, the legal framework that they're being forced to work in is being hidden from other people. So it looks like they're the ones to blame.
Well, shout out to Madam Savvy because she did the research and into Collective Shout. A lot of the members in Collective Shout have ties to MasterCard and Visa.
Hold on, real quick. Go over the Collective Shout thing one more time because I've been hearing people talk about that, but I don't know much.
It's an Australian group that claims to be pro-woman and women defense stuff, and they're also like fairly like a Christian extremist, evangelical type of stuff.
Okay, so in this context, pro-woman doesn't mean feminist. What does it mean? Does it mean anti-trans?
No. So they go after. Say there's a billboard for us, like what's the underwear that women wear? Victoria's Secrets, right?
Okay.
If there's a Victoria's Secrets ad, they would tell you you should not be promoting that. And
okay.
It's
so
like
by pro-woman,
where they're not left wing.
Okay, so pro-woman in this context means they're trying to make sure things don't get too slutty outside.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but they also here's the hypocrisy part.
Yeah.
They praise the movie Cuties.
What? How does that work?
It doesn't.
That's what it's so a hypocrisy. But the thing is, they got in Australia Grand Theft Auto 5. They got Target in a bunch of Targets in Australia to remove Grand Theft Auto 5 from the shelves in Australia only. These women are in different power. They're in different positions of power also in Australia. And some of these women, there's only about like 1,000 of them. And what they do is like, they get a group of them. We're going to keep calling the business to tell them to remove something. So what they did, besides a few of them actually working for Visa and MasterCard, is they kept calling Visa and MasterCard and like, hey, this company has this product that needs to be removed because it's porn. And the company receives all these calls like, we'll look into it. And that's what happened with Visa and MasterCard with Steam and itch.io. And so it's a big mess up, but that's the thing is when you're also removing these porn games, like with there's a lot of LGBTQ porn games or whatever that are also getting hit. And that's where you get Anesia Sarkeesian's like, hey, well, hold up. You can't just ban stuff like that because you're hurting our side as well. So now she's inadvertently joining our side, which is the funny part of the whole thing.
Yeah. I think this is right. That it's, do you guys agree with this? That it's the U.S. government has been doing this to banks and payment processors for years, complete with threats not to reveal that the government issued the order. Do you think it's like top-down pressure?
Hi, Dad.
Yes, 100%.
Yes. And it comes.
Time for Ryan to come back. Where's your tinfoil hat? I thought that's what you were making.
Well, I think we're being hit on all sides.
It's implanted. It's under my scalp where it belongs.
It's the same thing that was happening during COVID. The government was doing it to these social media sites, but then the most social media sites said nothing about the government intervention and just simply said, we're going to take this out. We're going to do this.
Yeah, I mean,
not being sued. And then it came out that it was the government actually pressuring social media to censor.
Because think about it this way with the payment processors. If they could just make money, they would sell anything to anyone all the time. It doesn't matter, even, no matter how dangerous it is.
Yeah, what do they
This
care?
is all comes from government pressure.
Well, like I said,
influence.
Some of these collective shout women actually are in high positions in Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they're not like a lot of the things are being banned are not breaking any laws whatsoever. As much as you may not like
I just don't like them.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but there's also I don't think it's as part of the incompetency of government as well, because you got people who really don't understand how the internet works, and they're like, oh, let's just ban porn. And then I think honestly it's more of a combo. You got people in government that want to, like, of course you want to protect kids, but the government's not the answer, but they don't see that. Then you got the super woke Christians. They're like, and not to shame people who are Christians or whatever, but I'm just saying there's a super extreme side of it. They're like, anything we deem indecent, we need to remove it. And then, so it's like all that just tying together on this one thing for one big push.
I see. Okay. Well, that's the thing. I haven't seen this. So you're seeing it now for the first time. Okay. I mean, this is kind of tracking. It's weird. It seems like there is an organic desire for safety coming from the people, and that the government is promising
billboards
to
objectifying
safety.
Women pulled down, sexualized children's clothing. No, so again, not going to say you don't agree with some of the things that they're advocating for. Sexually violent video games banned, but again, what do they deem sexually violent? There's the obvious, and then there's the.
But look at this.
Andrew Tate's just their opinion.
Andrew Tate's pimping courses removed from Spotify. That's how they got to Spotify. I was wondering what the stuff was on Spotify.
An age verification trial underway to protect kids from exposure to porn. No, they don't want to protect kids. They just want to make things they don't like all go away.
But listen, if you're a woman who wants to protect kids, and you read this,
don't give them technology.
This sounds
the good. Kids they want to protect is Vagabond. He's the person that they don't want to have access to things he wants to have access to.
One of the things that happened is there's a guy called Mighty Keith who's like a huge leftist YouTuber that everybody hates because he's a huge cancel pig, and he immediately reached out to the founders of Collective Shout, begging them to come on to his show so they can talk about how they beat Steam and force them to take down on these objectifying games. And then he immediately had to rescind his thing because they're anti-gay and anti-trans. And so they're going out there and they're pretending. So leftists are pretending that this is what they want. They're siding with them vocally. And then once they find out, this group's actually like a Trojan horse for like bad policies we don't agree with, they're immediately having to like panic and rescind stuff.
And it's like, bro, I get it. It's like, I don't actually disagree that people should act right and that we should protect children and that like porn is like bad for people and we should probably
the thing is
at the rate we do. But
we all got different definitions of porn too at the same time.
That's right. We have to live in a society.
Melanie Mac definition.
Yes, this is the point Vagabond keeps making. We have to live in a society where people think about these things differently. And you have to be willing to tolerate that because at some point, otherwise, if you're not going to fight these people, right? At some point, we have to kind of like, okay, that's where the line is. And this is why government is such a bad tool for this, because government only has force. Government is backed by people with guns. And shame is so awesome. That's why shame is so useful, because shame can get people to make the choice to change their own behavior, but you're not forcing them to do it. You're just strongly encouraging them. Every time Vagabond is on this show, I shame him for his personal habits. He can make the choice to change it or not. That's up to him. He doesn't have to respond that. He tries to convert me and tell me that, no, read this anime about a girl with magical underwear. This is the one that's going to convert
this anime?
You. What? They literally shut down a breast cancer charity?
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
What is that about? Tell me about that.
It's probably because they showed a breast in their advertisement.
No, I think it was like the clothing. Like, it's like I said, they deemed what the breast charity was depicting as pornographic or whatever, and they're like, we gotta remove this. Like, but see, that's the problem. Like, some people find feet sexual and some people don't.
Well, there's statues that have been
It has been 0 episodes since Vagabond has changed the subject to feet.
So there are statues that were created centuries ago that are naked people.
Yep.
Great.
Why is that okay?
No,
Okay,
and
I
that's a
think
great
on the
point
Arctic Answer
because
they got taken down. If you want to
because
see
they
it.
wanted to have the statue of there was a big movement among church ladies back in the I want to say
Yes.
the 70s where Michelangelo was a big no with his little tiny pecker.
Yeah, it's like, can we censor this penis? It's indecent. And this is why the
And
Protestant
Renaissance art.
Reformation was a mistake.
But
this is
even
why
now-
we should have burned Martin Luther alive when we had the chance. Otherwise, we wouldn't be dealing with any of this.
Like there's countries like Finland, right, where it's a big sauna culture where they go in the saunas, everyone naked together, men, women, and children, but they don't see it as sexual at all. And that's what I'm saying. In a lot of Asian places, they got hot springs where it's all it is the bathhouses is separated by gender.
That's right. No, C.S. Lewis talked about this. He said standards for modesty are subjective by culture. And that's pretty just demonstrably true.
To that point, because my brother was singing the song, I'm not talking about the bathhouses that Biden was talking about. I'm talking about like Asian bathhouses.
Well, like I've been to Korean bathhouses. They got some. There's some in San Diego, in LA.
Yeah, it's part of their culture though, and it's not a degenerate thing like what.
Right, but then but at the same time. In San Diego, there's Black's Beach. It's a nudist beach there in San Diego.
I'm familiar.
A bunch of places in
you would be,
but then a bunch of places in Europe they got nudist beaches or they got topless beaches. But like I said, each person, different types of people have a different definition of what's indecent or not, or culturally significant to them. And trying to just outright ban everything you dislike is not the answer.
No, because look how well it's doing in the Middle East. Do we want to live there?
Yeah, honestly, that's the way I see a lot of these like extreme people who want to ban porn. Is might as well start telling women to wear fucking burqas or whatever that shit's called.
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead and start destroying all the musical instruments. It's all haram.
Yeah.
And that's just the natural next step of things. If you want to go down that path, because somebody's always going to be in charge, telling everybody else what's pure and what's naughty.
Yeah. Well, this is and this goes. Fuck. This is really about. America has a streak of Puritanism that goes with our, Protestant roots that we're just never going to get rid of 100%, but. There's various points in our history. Women's suffrage was like this. The temperance movement got liquor banned was like this. Periodically, we go through moments of moral hysteria that's usually fomented by women's activist groups. And then the men who run the country are like, oh, well, I guess we better do what they say so that they like us. And then we end up with a stupid policy that makes everything worse for everybody and doesn't even accomplish what it set out to accomplish. As we made this point already, that once alcohol was banned under prohibition, organized crime came in and filled the gap. It made alcohol more pervasive and more dangerous. Nobody had a hard time actually getting alcohol.
Only for the general public, because everybody, the guys signing this into law, you can watch those on this. We're sitting there signing it while drinking their brandy that they never ran out of.
Biggest example is Gavin Newsom, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he stopped during COVID. He stopped all the wineries except his own fucking winery.
Yes.
The fucking bastard.
He even went on a freaking vacation in Napa Valley and shit.
And notice
Pelosi making the hairstyle open for business just for her.
Yes. And even fucking Donald Trump, we caught Donald Trump doing this the other day. He's like, yeah, we want to get rid of all of the immigrants, but we don't want to get rid of the illegal immigrants who work in the hotel industry. I mean, people who own hotels have to make a living.
So he's went back and forth on that based off of, I can't remember her name or what her job is, but she has ties with the deep state, where she's the one advising him, and she goes back and forth on that because he took that back and then he said it again and then he took it back again.
Because he's thinking about it. He hasn't decided. He's like, oh, well, I want to get rid of other people's slaves. I don't want to get rid of my slaves. Very American.
Well, the
thing too.
Very Thomas Jefferson of him.
His main target is the illegal immigrants that actually commit crimes first, and then it's that like get rid of them first, and then work your way into getting rid of everyone else. So like that's why a lot of them being sent to El Salvador with that prison over there.
And I wonder if this, like, I think it's all of them, because people have been frustrated with Republicans because it was like, hey, I think a lot of people in the new right thought when they were voting for Republicans, they were voting for freedom and like online to stay the wild, wild west. But it's like, but it's like the Republicans are like that. I think the old Republicans that are still, because Republican used to mean something very different in like 1996. And there's some Republicans that are still hanging around from that time. And I think this evangelical guy who's like, you know, let's get rid of all the porn or whatever is, and some of these like evangelical types who are motivated that way, they're not on board with the wild, dangerous freedom, as you called it, the sort of wild west model. They also want authoritarian control, and they're using a different philosophical justification, but it's the same motivation.
What it is, it's what they deem indecent for everybody else. And
you don't want to go rummaging through their closets.
But like I said, I smoke weed. I'm sure some people on the panel don't, and probably have a problem with it. It's like,
I take my hand back. I just won't do it. Y'all do what you want.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the other part of the thing is, like, I think even Republicans forget why we had a Revolutionary War in the first place, and a Declaration of Independence, and a Constitution, and it wasn't so we can all be controlled by a one government and all the time. All they need to do is handle foreign affairs. We're not like. Even the fact that all of us are being taxed to death every single thing that we fucking do shows us how much they actually love the Constitution.
Yeah, this is actually a good point. Go ahead, Emerald.
This is kind of one of the reasons why I have some people think it's a hot take on Lincoln. I think Lincoln was a shitty president that started the destruction of our country and made the federal government the overwhelming shit show that it is today, taking the power away from the states and leaving things where they should have been. It was the states were always supposed to have the maximum power. The federal government was never supposed to be this large and this powerful.
That's actually more of a popular opinion nowadays as people researched and watched Razor Fist. When Razor Fist did a whole thing.
Well, I know. Well, yeah, but I've known this for years.
No. I know. I'm just letting you know that it's not as unpopular.
But if you look at where the federal overreach started, it was under Lincoln, and then it was Woodrow Wilson and FDR that just put it on steroids.
Yeah. Well, honestly, bro, like Hamilton's interpretation of the Constitution shocked people because it was so permissive of executive power. And I actually think he was right. I actually think Hamilton was right, at the time, but people have certainly piggybacked off that in a way that was predicted at the time. Factions really did undermine us. And people now, kind of like as the founding fathers predicted, the Constitution isn't the restrictive document that we like to think it is. People do and kind of have always done what they can get away with. Like, we maybe haven't had a principled president since Washington. All of them were ego-driven. And Washington we only may think so highly of Washington as we do because of the Beyonce effect, where he didn't, he played a much less active role. And so I think because we know less about him and we see less about him, we think highly of him. Like the truth is, the executives have always just sort of done. That's a hot take. The executives,
a terrible musical.
That's okay. We're not gonna get into this right now, but the musical is excellent. That's the official opinion of the channel. Executive authority.
Well,
but
that's what.
I was going to say, like, executives, especially now, people do what they can get away with. Here's what happens. The president decides, this is what I want to do. And he sends his team of lawyers into a locked room. And he says, don't come out with a memo of how this is constitutional, this thing I want to do. And then they do that. They find the justification in the document. They don't they don't see it as a limiting thing. They can, and because there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of jurisprudence on the Constitution, the actual text of the Constitution is not nearly as relevant as you only need to know. All you really need to know is 14th Amendment, interstate commerce clause, and necessary and proper clause. That's all you really need, and you can pretty much do anything you could possibly conceive of an executive doing could be justified using one of those.
I here's where I partially disagree. I think it's literally, if they're willing to infringe on the Second Amendment, they're willing to infringe on any other amendments, and that's the problem. But so because here's what happens when they infringe on any of the amendments or whatever, our judicial system with the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court's supposed to like, hey, this violates the Constitution, and that's all we need to remove it. What we actually see happen, right, is there's all these small little battles in between all the smaller courts, and it doesn't reach the Supreme Court until like 50 or 60 years later for them to go, oh yeah, this is unconstitutional, let's reverse it. Like, I just lived my whole life under this bullshit, and you're telling me I had to wait 60 to 80 years for you to go, oh, that was a fucking mistake, because that's part of the problem. Like the EPA laws, there should be no reason why we have to wait since the 40s for that to get fucking reversed, and we can't no longer have fucking small pickup trucks and shit over some bullshit.
Yeah, R.I.P. the Toyota Tacoma, R.I.P. the Ford Ranger, R.I.P.
Yeah, well, because the
Chevy
EPA
Colorado.
laws is as the combustible engine gets better gas mileage and shit and more fuel efficient, trucks have to get bigger. It's fucking retarded. And you know what? Fuck Captain Planet too.
Yeah, big time. Call me propaganda, folks.
You guys see the footage from Captain Planet that recently resurfaced where they told we're telling kids not to have children to save?
Yes.
Yeah, Iron. Actually, do you have that, Iron? Do you still have that? Because I know we watched that on your show. Why don't we cover it here? Because we didn't get to really cover this on. We covered it a little bit on Ironcast, but
I'll pull it up.
Oh yeah, I remember that stream.
Yeah, pretty rad. But it's like I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know what the takeaway is, because all of this stuff is horrible. Like, don't believe them when they say they want to protect the children, because I'm sensitive to that, because I do think porn is really harmful, and not just to children. I don't really think about children that much, but I think about
and neither do they. They're thinking about you and everybody else. Vagabond.
Well, they can't take over.
Well, yeah. The thing is, they get more power. Like, there's big money in the government or whatever, and besides the trading and stuff, and that's why like our senators are there longer than the fucking president. President got 8 years, while these guys can go like for decades without fucking leaving the fucking seat. You know, the other problem too is that a lot of them don't understand what the fuck they're talking about. Think of AOC. You think she knows what she's voting on?
No, I know. Based on hearing her talk, I know for a fact she doesn't. Yeah.
Like,
go ahead and play this.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Finish your point, Vagabond. Finish.
I can wait till afterward.
Okay, sounds good.
Remember that the Earth's resources are limited.
You do not need to have a big family, because all the world's people are your brothers and sisters.
The power is yours. Remember that the Earth's resources are limited.
You do not need to have a big family, because all the world's people are your brothers and sisters.
The power is yours.
The Earth's resources are limited, so you don't need to have a big family. All the world's people are your brothers and sisters.
If only the right people would learn that lesson. Or I mean the bad.
Seeing this clip made me so sad, because I loved that show.
I love the show too, but like Recess was a better show, because Recess was anti-communism and all that type of shit.
Yeah.
But this is like, well, I guess the point here is that, like, when they like
the
that's
programming
one of those
starts early.
That's one of those very special messages that they would put at the end of the show to just like, hey kids, I know we just enjoyed this adventure, but here's a reminder. Here's a moral lesson that we're going to teach you right at the end. Yeah. So the last thing you see after you've been entertained is like, oh, Captain Planet, who just entertained me, wants me to not have children. I'll keep that in mind.
Depopulation.
Well, and it makes me wonder how much of, so like, at least for women, when you're younger, you're more liberal minded.
Yeah.
And like when I see stuff like that, it makes me wonder why, like if that's the reason that I thought more about that, like in my like teens and 20s.
It
was because that stuff was just in my subconscious. And I was more liberal minded. And then I got into the real world, thank God. And realize that it's all bullshit and nonsense.
Well, of our age group, do you have a single friend that wasn't more liberal minded when they were younger, including yourself, including myself?
That's not actually a Gen X thing. That is an everyone thing. That is how human psychology works. When you're younger, you view things by what's kind, and you look at what makes people feel good, and that's where your moral center is based. And yeah, a lot of the kids' targeted media is also pushing that propaganda, but you're going to be there naturally no matter what. And then as you age, you begin to become more pragmatic. You see how the real world works. You understand that sometimes being kind is simply they're an idiot.
Well, is conditioning and programming and not
I
have a different take on where it comes from. I think it's the school system.
It's like a combination,
right? But I think most of it's because like they don't really teach capitalism right in schools, and the way they.
So my teacher was a dude for civics. And I feel that as we've gone further and further into the decades, it's become more and more women. So current public schooling, correct. They don't teach that because it's women and they want to teach their fucking feelings. But I had a lot of male teachers growing up. And I was in a small town too. So maybe that's the difference, like city versus rural. Because I was taught capitalism. And I know the exact teachers that taught me the things that annoy me now that they're not teaching. And those were all the male teachers. It was the female teachers that would teach the stupid shit.
Well, here's the other problem. Well, like I learned about both capitalism and communism in school. But the problem I think it raises from is the way they teach socialism and communism, they put rainbows and sunshines over it, where hey, in this system everyone can have a home and there's no one can be homeless and stuff. So it, as a kid, it sounds right, but it
yours
sounds
teach you that way, like when you were a kid.
Well, the thing is that when because they will teach you like hey, it like basically you would hear about, hey, the government will provide housing for everybody and
food.
And food. What? Because then you see homeless people
and healthcare.
And I'll say it, like if you grow up watching Captain Planet, Captain Planet is like, hey, there's homeless people out there and they're suffering, but they don't teach you that there's people homeless on their own fruition
by choice.
By choice, or they made bad choices in their life.
So in Captain Planet, they would frame it as the corporation is keeping these people poor and starving and homeless, while they're the villains.
So the reason that I push back a little bit on that with the schooling is because that wasn't my schooling. Like I was raised in public schooling and I have hated commies since fucking 5 years old.
Well, I did public schooling too, but like they did the way my teachers taught it. It was like, hey, this is a different system, and this can benefit a lot of people, and there wouldn't be people that were starving or without a home. Because I'm born and raised San Diego, but I grew up seeing Skid Row and home population. Like we used to have a tent city in San Diego, and so you're like, oh well, I think everyone should be. As a kid, you're thinking, well, everyone should have a house, So then when you learn about communism, you're like, or socialism, then you're like, oh, well, that sounds good, because then that way there won't be homeless people in the street. And I think that's why it's enticing for like mainly people in big cities, is because when you grow up seeing homeless people, like where I live now in Georgia, there's barely actually any homeless people at all. Like the population of homeless people is like under 100 people. It's like, but you go to a city, you're seeing thousands of homeless people and all that type of stuff. So then when you're like, oh, people get food and this, and this, it sounds good. And I think that's what drives people to become leftists. It's like, once you learn that, but at the same time, the reason why I also say it's part of the schooling, there's a kid on, well, he's not a kid anymore, but he started a business on YouTube selling reptiles and stuff, and he no longer sells reptiles, but he was able to buy his first house at 19, and it's him trying out different things to keep an income while living on YouTube and stuff or whatever. And he dropped out of school, and he's full on anti, because he had to run his own business by himself, sell t-shirts and stuff, whatever, and that's how he made his money. And his YouTube channel helped boost that. And so he's able to, so he got to understand how capitalism works by actually benefiting from it and seeing why socialism doesn't work. And he just did a series where he had tried to get some roommates to get some extra income, but one of the roommates was like, hey, he called her Milo because she reminded him of that Milo chick that used to be on YouTube. But she was like trying to squat in his house and everything and won't leave because she's like, landlords need to give housing. He's like, what the fuck? I have to pay my bills and you're just taking up my resources and stuff. It's an interesting watch, but
I still feel like that might be urban setting versus rural.
Yeah, in my schooling,
we're
they
of a similar
basically
age, and my experience was completely different in school. Like it
mine was
actually
closer to vagabonds.
Yeah,
they taught that communism, socialism are great ideas that were just never executed properly because of capitalist influence and human greed and men's greed and all that. Capitalism bad, socialism, communism good, just never applied correctly.
And right. That was like the opposite. Like they would say that. So the way it was taught to me was, sure, you know, they glorify it with everybody takes care of everybody and the government is good, except when being taught that, I don't remember the specifics, obviously, but like it's a bad thing because the government will be controlling everything and the food will run short because they have taken over everything and they want to keep it for themselves.
Like
that was my school.
Well, the educational system, because I mean, a lot of us are within the same age range. It goes to the education and where you're from. Where I grew up in Michigan and stuff, and yeah, the educational system was definitely, I wouldn't say pro-communism, but it was definitely focused completely on the totalitarianism of Germany in the 1930s. Bad. And since the communists came in and then joined us, they're actually a friend. This is actually kind of good, but still it's on the at the ending of the Cold War. So communism was still bad. Communism is still evil. So we still had that much in there.
Right. Well, okay, I'll say this too, because it's like, so for Drunken Emerald, in your area, was there a lot of homeless and stuff around, or no?
No.
Okay.
We were a farming community.
Yeah, so I think that's also the difference, is like, if you grow up seeing homeless people and you're like, hey, I wish I could solve the problem, and then you hear about, hey, there's a system out there where technically people all get food distributed and people don't have to be homeless, which is not really the case. But like, they don't teach you about the Box Cart Act in Mississippi, where they wanted to integrate the box carts, but the government said no, you can't. Like, they don't teach you about that stuff in school. You have to like learn that on your own. And
well, all I'm hearing is I was lucky, and I'm sorry for you guys.
Yeah, you just had like the Starship Troopers education, and the rest of us had to go to like fucking commie feminist school.
Jesus Christ, guys.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you want to know what? But adding to Gail earlier is the fact that my government teacher, back when government was a requirement for graduation, I had a male teacher that was a flaming liberal, Democrat, the head of the union for the school teachers and stuff like that. But when he taught, you didn't know what his political leanings were.
Yeah. Those were the days.
He actually taught both sides. He didn't demonize either side or praise one side or the other. He taught just straight down the middle.
The best
Like I
teachers
remember
ever
I had a
were all
teacher
male
that
teachers.
oh well I remember I had a male teacher that praised Dianne Feinstein to be a really good woman.
God.
All the time. Well, so that's what I'm saying. Like I grew up in California and seen this change. Like I had like early on I grew up was like I had like the conservative I had a conservative teacher, but I had a parent teacher conference because she was telling me with my parents like, hey, I don't think your son should watch The Simpsons. He should watch the Disney Channel like I make my kids watch or whatever. And he's always talking about Beavis and Butthead. And I'll just say, look who's now look how Disney Channel is.
Yeah, seriously.
So
meanwhile, Mike Judge is based as fuck.
Yeah.
At least somewhat.
Yeah. Well, this is a problem. I mean, people wonder why boys don't have good educational outcomes, and then you look at the fact that like 85% of the teachers in the education system are female, and the whole way it has education sucks for all children. I want to be clear about that. But women are have a much easier time adapting to the way they do education than men do. And this starts we've known about this problem for at least 30 years. And we still haven't done anything about it. And we wonder why it's so bad.
Well, I just had a slight debate with a friend the other day on the Spanish conquest into the Americas, right? So over the Batman film already, right? That the Batman Aztec shit. So the conquistadors are deemed the bad guy all the time, right? But they don't tell you about the natives that joined them in their fight or whatever. Yeah. Like, okay, and why people became Christian is the original religion is, hey, I have to get sacrificed to the sun god and my heart gets ripped out, and you throw the rest of my body while I'm still alive down this giant flight of stairs. Or there's this other one that all I have to do is pray for forgiveness and try to do what was right. What sounds more enticing to you?
Yeah, dude. And it's like, imagine the conquistadors, they get here and they're like, all right, let's see. Oh, cool. There's people who live here already. Oh, let's check them out. And the first thing you see is they rip some dude's heart out and then throw him down the fucking stairs like Indiana Jones style. They're like, yeah, no, let's just shoot him. Let's figure it out later. You know, I don't blame them for thinking that.
Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. They don't teach you that part. They just like, oh, well, there was this one guy, but they don't say the one guy about it was one guy with the
Don't you guys know
blankets.
that all cultures are equally valid? It's just subjectivism. Come on. Stop enforcing your imperial white supremacy.
But still, the Manifest Destiny and stuff, they don't tell you about the Native Americans scalping each other to death. And maybe the Europeans were actually the fucking good guys. Yeah. So, like, I think schooling is the problem because they don't like they do a sheltered version of history. Like, same thing. They don't show the whole picture. It's white men bad, slavery bad, but they don't tell you, oh, it was actually the other Africans selling Africans in the first place.
Well, it's like the I saw something talking about it, how the Trail of Tears footage or videos, or not videos, pictures. The pictures from the Trail of Tears and representing it, they all are representing it. They always ignore that the Native Americans had a fuck ton of slaves.
Yeah. Or here's bring it back to government. So okay, the government made laws to where a white person would get punished for teaching a black person to read or write. So, or aiding black people in general was a punishment to white people. And so it's not just, oh, well, it's not all white people are bad. Is if they did help black people, they get punished by the government. And more reason why the government gets in the way of progress.
This is great. All right, folks, this has been fucking great. I'm really happy with the way this episode turns out, but we're pushing 2.5 hours already, so we gotta keep moving. Let's do our outros and call it a day. First things first. I'll start at the bottom. Arza, you are Gen Z, and despite your disability, you come back every single week, offer your insight and analysis. Where can people go if they want more of you?
Well, you can follow me over at Arza Chats on YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, TikTok, and X. I've been on a bit of a hiatus, but I'm going to come back. Instead of doing a news footage thing, I'm actually going to break down an argument I had with a really stupid trans rights activist, and that'll be my return video. Probably going to return this Monday, but we'll see if things fall in line with that.
That's right. All right. Vagabond, what kind of degenerate bullshit are you up to these days?
Well, later tonight, I'll be on Anime for the Homies. We're going to discuss K-pop Demon Hunters. It's really good. I give it a 10 out of 10, best movie of the year.
I want to throw hands right now. It is not really good. It is decent.
No, it's good. We watched it 2 days in a row.
There are so many problems. Why is she half demon? You just don't get that information?
See, that is going over Gal's head. That's the problem.
No, it's not going over my head.
It's a consistent problem.
Go fuck yourself.
Just like the Ed thing all over again.
Fucking bite me.
Just not sophisticated enough to understand it.
But tomorrow, I'm probably going to do the first episode of I Swear It's Not Hentai podcast. All of you guys are invited. It's probably going to start from 8 p.m. Eastern or 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Don't know the exact time yet. But even if you don't watch anime, you can learn about. It'll be very educational, and I swear it's not hentai. And it's basically, and it's not just ecchi stuff. It's like you might be watching a show, and your mom opens the door at the wrong second. Everyone was fighting on the screen, and as soon as someone comes in, all of a sudden they see boobs in front of the screen. It's like, I swear this is not what the show's about. It's a fighting anime or whatever. So it's basically a free-for-all until I get more organized with it. And I can have 12 guests. All you guys on the panel is invited. Again, even if you don't watch anime, we're just there to have fun and talk about crazy shit in manga anime.
All right. That's all right. Make sure to check out Vagabond. Yeah, be sure to check out Vagabond. It definitely is hentai, but whatever. He swears it's not, so be sure to check that out. What about you, Drunken Emerald Arrow, 99 overall producer? Happy to see you as wearer of cowboy hats.
Hell
yeah.
Natural truth.
Wait, hold on. Is that from Bass Pro Shop?
No.
Oh,
from a shop, from a little shop in a little town that is a bit of a tourist trap, but they have kept the old style of the town. It's Winthrop, Washington. Went hiking, swimming, saw some waterfalls. It had a good time. Rented a cabin and supported local business and bought an actual Stinson hat.
Hey, there we go.
So coming up, I'm done for the rest of the weekend. Coming up on Tuesday is Nerds Covering the News at 6 p.m. PST, where officially Tiny But Fierce is now the official co-host of Nerd Covering the News. On Wednesday, we have on Devil Made Me Do His channel, Make Me a Sandwich at 7 p.m. PST. On Fridays, I'm rotating schedule over on Iron Show with the Rogues Gallery. And then I have my show at 9:30 PST, which is insert title here, which we are going to be taking a 2-week hiatus at the end of August for a break going into season 2. I'm going to be retooling the intro, getting some new updated backgrounds, and do a few updates, and then come in swinging for season 2. And then Cavecast at 8:30 a.m. PST over on Sammy 3P's channel, which we have decided to talk about the Riddler. That is now an update that just came through. We originally were going to do Batgirl, but there was a panelist that wants to be on, but is going to be at a Comic-Con. It's not going to be a make it. So we're going to do the Riddler. And then back here producing Touch Grass.
Excellent. Iron Oxide, my partner in all crimes, foreign and domestic. What's up, buddy? What do you get up to these days?
Hey, good to be here. I'm actually done for the week as well. Thank God. I need a break. So nothing else tonight or tomorrow, but we'll be back Friday with the return of the Rogues Gallery at 5:35 p.m. PST. You can always find me over here on Saturday morning. Before that, over on Semi 3-Piece channel for Cavecast, and occasionally on some other shows as well. Follow me on X, subscribe to YouTube and Rumble, and you'll know how to find me.
All right. Gal, green-haired anti-liberal, diversity hire, the one who's a girl. What do you do?
Just biologically, she is. I mean, she's about to throw hands with Vagabond.
Yeah, she's a fighter and a biter.
You would not know.
Stop. You don't need to keep selling.
I'm trying to find out. What's up?
Open invitation for Gal. She can come on. I swear it's not a hentai podcast.
Well, thank you. Next, in an hour and 20 minutes, I will be, I think, is that bad math? No, that was good math. Rare for me. Screaming into the Void on Samuel the Infamous's channel. And otherwise on my channels on Rumble and YouTube, I do Cook in the Books, where I take the book list collecting dust in the corner and read it to you so you don't have to. Nobody's got time for that. So that's me. Otherwise, produce for Dermy Wormy on Ballbusters, and I'm here. Oh, and Thursdays, Static 2020's channel for weekend pregame. That's me. At least you didn't say I have a disability like Garza. I was kind of expecting it just because I'm a woman, but
I did. I'm trying to mix it up.
What is my disability, Theo?
Oh, being
Gen Z.
Being
Gen Z, gay, or ADHD? I'm confused.
All of the above. It's kind of a triple whammy. I did. Well, here's the thing, Gal. I said you being a woman was a disability last week on the show. I didn't want to. I wanted to change it up.
3 weeks ago.
2 weeks. Whatever. Okay. You know what?
Last stream.
Nobody. I don't remember anyone asking your opinion. Actually, you know what? It's already over. Let's just get rid of her. Like, go get some coffee or something. What was I going to say? Oh, my name is Theo Snodgrass. I'm your host. I am a comedian podcaster out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you want to see me do live comedy, I'm going to be at Rick's Rolling Barbecue on the 6th of August. That's going to be a lot of fun. Should be owned by the Pawn Stars guy, right? So that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to be on a show out there. That's going to be a lot of fun. Got a lot of dates coming up. Very excited. And if you want to watch this show, it's 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time over on my channel. Go ahead and watch that. We do lots of cool stuff here. Say hi to the panel. Make sure to follow everybody. Follow me on all my socials. Buy things from my merch store. Subscribe to my Patreon. Send me a DM with your private contact information and your credit card number. Whatever makes you happy. You know, whatever inspires you. And of course, Emerald, as Emerald reminds us, we're always open to feed pics around here. All right, this has been fun.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Send all your feet pics to Gal, and she'll sort through them and send me the good ones.
Oh, yeah. Get him your secretary.
Will do. I'll get on that.
She's the secretary, so send all nudes and like sex inquiries to Gal, and she'll sort through them and pass along the best ones. We appreciate you. Thank you, audience. Take care. Goodbye.